Well, the Lancaster Barnstormers got a bit restored last night, and it certainly showed in the ball club's performance. The Barnstormers came out and slammed 5 home runs against the York Revolution and won the 14th meeting of the 2022 War of the Roses by the score of 11-4 in the series opener last night. Tonight, under densely overcast skies here at Peoples Bank Park, it will be Brooks Hall on the hill for the Barnstormers. He has not given up an extra base hit in 8 innings. He has not been scored upon in 8 innings, but he's come out after 4 both times. Hence, he has not factored into a decision at this point. He'll match up against Austin Nicely, whose first appearance against the Barnstormers this year was an unmitigated disaster. The last 2 have been much, much better. He is 0-2 against the Barnstormers and 1-5 against the Atlantic League as a whole. That is our matchup here this evening. But before we get into tonight's game, let's bring this thing home. We're about 6.5 hours away now from the end of the voting in BallparkDigest.com's annual Best of the Ballparks competition for the Major League Baseball partner leagues. It started with 48 teams. We're down to the final 2. The Lancaster Barnstormers, Clipper Magazine Stadium against the Lincoln Salt Dogs, and, by the way, University of Nebraska's Haymarket Park out in Lincoln. So the Barnstormers, Clipper Magazine Stadium has the lead, but you don't know. Is Lincoln home tonight? Will they have everybody getting on their cell phones and voting in the stadium? We don't know this. There could be some last-minute sandbagging effort out there in the Cornhusker State. So let's make sure that it's not enough. And everybody in the Barnstormers faithful, let's get on the devices, make sure that we vote tonight and bring Clipper Magazine Stadium to its well-deserved three-peat in that competition. The Barnstormers and York Revolution meeting for the middle game of this 3-game series. It is the 5th game of one of the longest, if not the longest, road trips in Barnstormers history. The club is out for 13 days. Lancaster from here will head to Long Island for the weekend for 4 and 3 days. And then the Barnstormers go to Lexington, Kentucky for 3 games against the Legends next week. Here are the starting lineups for our ball game this evening. The Barnstormers will once again be led off by center fielder Sean Dunston Jr. Melvin Mercedes, the second baseman, will bat number 2. Kelly Dugan is the first baseman, hitting third. The cleanup batter is the right fielder Ladarius Clark. Andretti Cordero will bat fifth and play third base. Colton Shaver is doing the catching, batting sixth. Trayvon Robinson will be out in left field. He is the number 7 hitter. Anderson Felice, the designated hitter, will bat eighth, and Trace Lair will again make the shortstop start and bat ninth for the Barnstormers. Brooks Hall on the mound, 6'5" right-hander in his third season for the Barnstormers, but only one has been anything resembling a full year. That was 2018 when Hall was 11-4 and also won a playoff game against Sugar Land. For the Revolution tonight, Troy Stokes Jr. leads off. He is the designated hitter. The shortstop batting number 2 is Elmer Reyes. Connor Lean will bat third. He is in right field. The cleanup batter is Nelly Rodriguez, the first baseman. Carlos Franco will play third base. He's batting fifth. J.C. Encarnacion with the start in left, batting sixth. Melky Mesa left the game hobbling last night, so not available tonight. Jack Kenley is the second baseman, hitting seventh. John Nunez gets the start behind the plate for the Revs. He is batting eighth, and Jeffrey Perez will bat ninth. He will be in center field for York here tonight. Austin Nicely is on the mound, 1-5 with a 7.29 earned run average. The York Revolution today made wholesale changes to the pitching staff. They released 4 pitchers out of their bullpen, including the 3 relievers that the Barnstormers faced last night. Alberto Rodriguez, Joendry Herrera, and Isaac Sanchez all were let go earlier today by Mark Mason, and they have brought in a slew of new pitchers to join their staff. It'll be Brett DeGoose, who made the major leagues just last season. They have left-hander Tuck Tucker, who is a first-year professional, and right-hander Carlos Ventura, a former Arizona Diamondbacks farm system pitcher. So a lot of changes for the York Revolution. The Barnstormers staying pat roster-wise today, although we were informed during the game last night that Wes Albert was released following the ball game Sunday. Had not been clued in on that. So the Barnstormers are playing with 24, which for the time being should be enough to get through the next few days. I understand the next guy to be activated is Scott Schumann, who will be ready definitely by the Lexington series, maybe during the Long Island series. But Schumann, for the first time in a while, making the trips with us. He has been rehabbing a strained forearm. So Schumann should be good to go. No updates on Tyler Laporte, Dominic DeSabatino, or Josh Graham. But these are all elements that the Barnstormers are going to need as they try to get stronger. There's also no update on the situation with Devon Torrance. We certainly would like to see Devon back in a Barnstormers uniform, but he's been going through some personal things with his father's health and so on. So now we're going to send you down to the field, and here is our national anthem.
Broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watch, her so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Time for baseball this evening here in York, Pennsylvania, on the other side of the Susquehanna River, the Lancaster Barnstormers and the York Revolution in the middle game of a three-game series. Welcome back, everyone. Sitting in with me tonight is one of the young fellas that has helped us out a great deal during our home games this year. Zach Donaldson sitting in. Zach, welcome to York. I know it's your first time seeing this ballpark. What do you think?
Indeed, Dave. Thank you once again for having me. It's an honor to sit beside a Barnstormers legend, get to call some baseball. It's actually my first time at the stadium in a while. I came to a couple games here when I was younger, as I'm a native of Coatesville, PA, just about a hour and a half west of here. But no, it's a great looking ballpark. A little cloudy today with some storms lurking, but hopefully they're going to stand off at least until the game finishes.
Everything well to the west and northwest right now, and for the most part, the storms have been training due north to south all day, so we have stayed in the clear here in York, and nothing is anticipated until after 10 o'clock tonight. Hopefully we will be good to go. Left-hander Austin Nicely on the hill for the York Revolution. Nicely finished among the league leaders in earned run average last year, but got off to a horrific start this season. He's now 1-5. His ERA has calmed down a bit. It's 7.29. 81 hits allowed in 58 innings, 47 earned runs. He has walked 22 and struck out 38. It was Nicely who was the victim of the Barnstormers opening night barrage at Clipper Magazine Stadium. He gave up 8 hits and 9 runs against the Barnstormers that night in just 2 2/3 innings. Leading things off for the Barnstormers again here tonight is Sean Dunston Jr., the center fielder, hitting .318. He has reached base safely in every game he has played for this ball club. Nicely, the left-hander to the plate. He is inside and low. It's a ball 1-0. Nicely from Grottoes, Virginia, along Interstate 81, 27 years of age, 6'2", and 200-pounder. He misses low again. Dunston bats at 2-0. Dunston has had a very good eye, especially leading off the game. He has made the pitchers work. He doesn't get up there and try to hit the first pitch. He gives everybody else the opportunity to see what the starter has. Pitch fades back to the inside corner, a called strike. Dunston batting 2-1. Melvin Mercedes on deck, and then Kelly Dugan will follow. Nicely deals. This is high pop-up over on the left side and curling toward the back of the seating bowl. 2-2, the count to Dunston, getting things underway for the Barnstormers here. Lancaster has, in general, has struggled a little bit more against left-handed pitching, though it's somewhat more evened out in recent games. Ball 3 is low, and to Dunston a full count, and this is what Sean has done a lot in this leadoff capacity. Not only does he carry the .318 batting average, but to boot, he's walked 9 times in 11 games. Here's the 3-2, and he beats that foul on past Troy Steffi down the first base line. It is still 3 balls and 2 strikes. He's been on base 24 times as Dunston in 11 games. He has 6 stolen bases, so you can't ask for a leadoff hitter to do much better. 3-2 offering. Again, a ground ball pulled foul. This one gently rolling into the left hand of the aforementioned Troy Steffi. Back coaching first base, Ross Peoples over at third. Wind tonight is streaming from the right field corner across to the left field corner, and it's blowing at a pretty good clip. Here's the 3-2. Dunston takes this down the right field line into the corner, and that is a foul ball. That is probably 3 bases for Dunston if he drops that in between the lines. He'll have to come back and see the 9th pitch of this opening at bat. 3-2, the count to Dunston. Mercedes waiting patiently on deck, and Dunston has a long trip back to home plate and a much slower one than he took down to first base.
Yeah, absolutely. He was off running there, and that was awfully close, like you said, to being 3 bases, but must have just missed the chalk.
Nicely to Dunston, 3-2. Breaking ball gets the inside corner, strike 3 called. Dunston goes down looking. First out recorded, but it took 9 pitches to get there. And even that can pay benefits for the club at the plate. Melvin Mercedes has seen what Nicely has. Melvin's seen Nicely enough this year and in the past to know, but it's always good to get the refresher course. Melvin with maybe his biggest night ever as a Barnstormer last night. He's had 4 hit games previously, but he's never had a 4 RBI game before. He was 3 for 5, drove in 4 runs in the first 2 innings. Looks at a pitch in the zone, a called strike. It's 1-1. The Barnstormers don't display a lot of power against lefties. They only have a home run about every 45 at-bats against left-handed pitching. Against right-handed pitching, it's about every 29 at-bats. It's a pretty substantial difference. 1-2, the count to Mercedes with 1 out, nobody on. Nicely comes back. Mercedes skims it to first. Easily handled by Nelly Rodriguez. He'll take it to the bag himself. 2 outs. And now Kelly Dugan will step in. Left-handed pitching keeps Dugan's power under control. Average-wise, he hits reasonably the same against both right-handers and left-handers. But if you want to talk about the difference in home runs per at-bat, Dugan overall has hit a home run this year in less than every 10 at-bats, which is remarkable. A ball is high, 1-0. But against right-handed pitching, it's to the point of being ridiculous. The 1-0 from Nicely crowds him. That is ball 2. Kelly up there with a 2-0 count. Dugan, against right-handed pitching, is averaging a home run every 7 at-bats. Ball 3 past everything. 3-0, and Dugan likely to have the green light here. I certainly would give this fella the green light. 2 outs and nobody on a 3-0 count.
Yeah, why not, right? He's been a monster.
He's only hit 10 home runs against York, which is more than anybody else ever has in a season, and more than a Barnstormer who's ever hit against an opposing team in a season. And we're still just in June. He took it, and a strike onto the outside corner. It's 3-1. Dugan's home run last night hit to the opposite field, something we haven't seen much out of Kelly this year. And the 3-1 snakes over but low, and Dugan gets the base on balls. It'll bring on Ladarius Clark, who hit the last of the 5 Barnstormers home runs a night ago. 301 for Clark on the year, 10 homers now, and 31 runs batted in. Last week, when he reached 20 stolen bases, I congratulated him on that, and then I said the home runs now need to match it. We have a handful of 2020 players in Barnstormers history, but it's not a common occurrence. Dugan out to a lead. Nicely will fire. It's low. Ball 1 and no strikes to Clark. Clark has done a lot of damage to York as well. He has 5 home runs in the season series, half of his total of 10. Nearly half of his runs batted in have come against the Revs. The Barnstormers have played 14 of their 53 games against York, but they have swung the bats quite well in this season series. Dugan leads off first. Rodriguez holds him there. 1 ball, no strikes to Clark. The pitch, chopped toward the middle. The second baseman, Kenley, will head to the bag. Not even worrying about a throw. 4 unassisted on the out. Nicely off to a good start. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We're through half an inning here tonight. The Barnstormers, nothing, and the York Revolution coming up.
There is a weekend in July where the baseball world revolves around a village in upstate New York. Baseball Hall of Fame induction weekend in Cooperstown is an unforgettable experience full of family-friendly activities and priceless moments. Make your plans today for July 22nd through 25th for the induction of Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, Buck O'Neill, and David Ortiz as the class of 2022. Visit baseballhall.org today for the
Hey kids, join the coolest club in town, the Storm Force. The Storm Force is presented by the Lancaster Barnstormers and Commonwealth Charter Academy. For only $25, kids under 12 get an entire summer of Barnstormers fun with 12 game tickets, a t-shirt and bag, the chance to go first when kids run the bases, exclusive activities, and coupons from Dutch Wonderland, Chocolate World, and more. Don't miss out on all the fun. Go to LancasterBarnstormers.com and sign up.
The Barnstormers have right-hander Brooks Hall on the hill tonight. Hall was part of the last Lancaster playoff team, the 2018 squad. He was 11-4 that year, and very steady was Hall. He didn't pitch too many spectacular games, but he was steady, hence the winning record on a club that could score its fair share of runs. And then he also won the 3rd game of the playoff series, the only game the Barnstormers won down in Texas, to give the club a 2-1 lead at that point. And Hall gave up 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings in that contest, which is kind of what he would do in that 2018 season. But Brooks Hall, in his 1-game stint with the Barnstormers last year and the 2 starts so far this year, is better than he was in 2018. His velocity is up, and this happening coming off the couch. He was working in the financial industry before joining the Barnstormers for what was supposed to be the 1 start against Gastonia last year. He was so good, Ross invited him to come up and pitch the home opener, and by the time he could do that, the Milwaukee Brewers purchased his contract, and off he went to the Milwaukee system, which is his original organization. First pitch to Troy Stokes Jr. at the knees for a strike called. It's 0-1. Stokes batting .244 with 7 homers. He has knocked in 30. Hall gets him to swing and miss here. It is 0-2. The Barnstormers pitching staff has been racking up a crazy number of strikeouts as of late. Hall has 10 and 8 innings in his first 2 starts. Here's the 0-2 offering. That's taken into center field. A leadoff base hit for Stokes on an 0-2 pitch. And that never bodes well for the game. Hall trying to keep his pitch count down, I would expect, so not wasting anything there. Challenging Stokes right away at 0-2. And now the leadoff man is on. Elmer Reyes, the shortstop, comes in. Reyes batting .313 with 4 home runs and 31 runs batted in. But I was talking about the number of strikeouts for the Barnstormers staff in recent games. In the last 9 contests, the Barnstormers have struck out 102. High for a ball, 1-0. It doesn't always equate to winning. But the strikeouts have certainly been piling up. They've exceeded 10 in most of those games, including one night, 15. 1-0. Stokes leads off first. He's 17 for 19 in the stolen base department. Gets a throw from Hall, and he's back in standing. At the 15 strikeout game for the Barnstormers, happened to be a 7-2 loss to the Wild Health Genomes a week ago tonight. The pitch, swing and a miss. He came after Reyes with heat there. It is 1-1. Reyes 2 for 5 with a pair of runs knocked in a night ago. Throw to first base, and that extended Dugan. Stokes back in easily. Runner on with nobody out, no score. Bottom of the first inning. With you from Peoples Bank Park here in not quite downtown York, but close. Swing and a miss. And it is 1-2. Hall reportedly was throwing 98 in that one start at Gastonia last year. Now, we haven't seen numbers quite like that when he has been on the hill, but we have seen some reasonably strong velocities as a starter, up around 94. If you can keep 98 going for a few innings, you're going to end up at a very high level of competition before too long. Fastball is high, and to Reyes, it is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here in the first inning, where pitchers usually haven't hit top velocity when starters just at the outset of a game. Runner goes, there's a grounder pulled foul, and it will stay 2-2 on Reyes with Stokes heading back to first. But Hall's velocity is in the 94s. You may see that increase as the game goes along. The last time out, he said he really didn't feel all that tremendous, and that may have been a musculoskeletal thing coming off the injury that sidelined him for most of last year. He actually only made 2 starts for the Brewers organization before he went down. And he threw 70 pitches in 4 innings. He gave up 5 hits. They were all singles. Walked 1, struck out 5. That was the Friday night ball game at Southern Maryland. 2-2 here on Reyes. Stokes bluffs, doesn't go. Ball 3, misses low. And Hall off to kind of a rough start here. He's had 2 strikes on both hitters to this point. Hasn't been able to finish off either as of yet. We'll see if Stokes goes at 3-2. I think we'll see it. He does take off the pitches. Bang, foul to the right, now to play. We will continue with a count of 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Reyes getting on top of the last couple. Hall's got to be careful, or Reyes could get a piece of one, and we know Stokes has some speed over there on first.
See if he comes after him the fastball again. I think he will. The runner goes. The 3-2 is wrapped fair inside the bag at third, down the line and into the corner. It'll take Robinson a while to get there. Polanco waving around Stokes. He is on his way home. He'll score easily. And in its second with an RBI double is Elmer Reyes, as the York Revolution grabs an early 1-0 lead tonight. The first extra base hit off of Hall, the first run off of Hall in his 3 starts this year. And York off to a terrific beginning. Stokes with the single. Reyes pulls the double, and now Connor Lean steps in. Lean with a home run in last night's game. It turned out to be his only hit. He was 1 for 4. He led off the second with the long ball off of Nile ball. Nile ultimately pitched very well here last night in the 11-4 win. Reyes at second. It's Elmer's 16th hit against the Barnstormers on the year. The pitch to Lean is across for a strike. It's 0-1. So Hall is not having a problem getting ahead of hitters whatsoever, but he is having problems finishing them. I'll work with Colton Shaver, perhaps on altering the game plan. No balls, 1 strike, and a lean. That is well upstairs. Forcing Lean to get down out of the way. Ball 1, strike 1. Lancaster with the same defensive alignment as last night. Colton Shaver doing the catching. Andretti Cordero at third. Trace Lair at shortstop. Melvin Mercedes at second. Kelly Dugan at first. Robinson, Dunston, Clark, the outfield from left to right. Ground ball pulled foul past Polanco. And 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count to Lean. Again, Hall is in command, ahead in the count, but he has been against the prior 2 hitters also. Brooks out of Anderson, South Carolina. He focuses in on Shaver's target. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and a lean. A shade low for ball 2. Scott Hart has the plate tonight. Joe Del Balso at first, and Buzz Albert calling the shots at third. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Lean. Nelly Rodriguez waits on deck. Wind a little favorable for the pitchers right now. Did he go on it? The appeal to the first base umpire, and Connor Lean is called out on strikes.
Yeah, Lean not too pleased with that. He's drawn with the home plate umpire a little bit.
But it's the second time it's happened to him in this series. It happened in the 8th inning last night. It's ultimately consecutive at bats for him. Almost identical. That brings on Nelly Rodriguez, the first baseman for the Revs. 253 with 8 homers. 30 runs batted in. Hall gets his feet wet, gets that first out. And again, it's a strikeout. Rodriguez, slow bounder to his counterpart Dugan. That will be 3 unassisted. Reyes easily galloping ahead to third base. He's there with 2 outs. And Carlos Franco will be stepping in. Franco is challenging Dugan in a lot of the offensive categories. And with Kelly missing a handful of games last week, Franco actually able to take over the cumulative categories in home runs and runs batted in. Dugan had led all the Triple Crown categories before last Wednesday and before him needing to sit for a few days. Here is Franco, a man who is incredibly dangerous from the left side of the plate. 2 outs, runner at third, and there's a ground ball hit right into the defense. Trace Lair is there. He'll throw from behind second. Franco retired 6-3, and Hall settles down after the first 2 batters reach him for solid base hits. 1 run in the inning on 2 hits with no errors, and Elmer Reyes left parked at third. We're at the end of 1 with the score 1-0 in favor of York.
Are you sick and tired of washers that don't use enough water or take 2 hours to clean and don't last more than a few years? Well, come into Gockenauer's in East Petersburg now and let us show you the Speed Queen commercial grade laundry. Built the old-fashioned way with warranties up to 7 full years. Gockenauer's will deliver and install your new Speed Queen, and we know you'll be fully satisfied with your purchase. Gockenauer's in East Petersburg, your hometown dealer for 73 years.
At Clipper Magazine Stadium, we have hot dogs and popcorn, peanuts, soda, and nachos. But what if, say, you are only 3 months old and mom wants to have a night out and watch the Barnstormers? Well, thanks to May Grant Obstetrics and Gynecology, the littlest of Stormer fans now have a place to go for dinner during the game. Tots can take mom to the Little Sluggers dugout behind Section 13 at the stadium for a comfortable private feeding experience. A brightly painted room with comfortable furniture and TVs tuned to the game, it is the perfect spot for baby and mom during a night at the ballpark.
Knockoffs, copycats, imitators. They all share one thing in common. They always pale in comparison next to the true original. Just like the stylish and versatile Lexus RX, the crossover that paved the way for others. And it's still the best for one simple reason. Nothing else is as good as the original. See Bobby Rahal Lexus in Mechanicsburg or Lancaster County.
Andretti Cordero prepares to start off the second inning against Austin nicely. Cordero now right at 300. He hit his 8th home run last night. He has knocked home 43. Nicely fires upstairs. It is a ball 1-0. Colton Shaver and Trayvon Robinson will follow in the second inning. Lancaster will look to make up a 1-run deficit here. First two batters got to Brooks Hall. He settled down nicely. To Cordero, ball 2 below the knees. It's 2-0. Nicely got behind some hitters in the first inning, but he was able to finish them off. 2-0. Cordero goes for that and bangs a long foul down the right field line and back up into the seats. 2-1 to the Lancaster third baseman. Not only did he have a nice night at the plate last night with a single, a home run, 2 out of 4 total. Ground ball toward the hole. Diving try by Reyes comes up short. Cordero's on here. I went to make the point he also had an excellent night in the field last night. He made a couple of really critical plays on defense for the Barnstormers. Colton Shaver now stepping in. Colton has been good for about an extra base hit a game recently. 14 of them in his last 16 games. Started off, they were doubles for the most part, but he is now homered in each of the last 2 games. 8 for the year to go along with 34 runs banded in. Lancaster with something brewing here in the second. Cordero aboard with the leadoff ground ball single, being held at first by Rodriguez. The pitch to Shaver is hit in the air and slicing well foul down the right field line. It is 0-1. Lancaster racked up 14 hits last night, 7 for extra bases, including the season high 5 homers. Nothing of the sort against nicely to this point to Shaver. This ball sliced out to right field and directly at Lean. 1 out. Shaver curled that right to the glove of Lean, who basically did not have to move. Now here is Robinson. Trayvon hitless the last couple of ball games and down to 254. He has 7 driven in on the year. Still trying to find the ticket to the right side of the plate. He's been swinging it all right left-handed. Cordero leads off first, 1 for 2 in steal attempts, and they've all been, the 2 of them have been recent. Line drive right to third and gloved by Franco. Wicked line out right there. Trayvon hitting into some tough luck. And now Anderson Felice is going to come to the plate. And this is interesting, and it also tells you that Felice is not 100% because Anderson's a switch hitter. We've all seen him do it in 2015 and this year, but his right side's been bothering him. It's why he sat for 3 weeks, and he is batting left on left against Austin nicely, which generally puts him at a disadvantage. First offering is low, ball 1. It's one thing if you always hit left-handed, but it's another thing altogether if you're facing a left-handed pitcher from what is a very unnatural side of the plate. Ball 1, no strikes to Felice. Trace Lair, a left-handed hitter, waits on deck. (1-0). Felice loops a foul off to the left. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 dead bat. He'll go back for another. Must have hit that right off the end, and bats cannot withstand that. Ball coming right off the end. It tends to send shockwaves straight down through the bat and crack them open.
Yep, especially when you get jammed like that, and that's another thing.
Well, it's either getting hit down toward the hands will crack a bat, or right at the tip of the bat too, one or the other. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Here in the second inning, Lancaster trailing by a run. Here is the set, and to Felice, another soft pop-up foul into the third base seats. This one left the bat together. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cordero, the runner at first, he led off the inning with a single through the left side. A couple of fairly loud outs since then. The Barnstormers haven't exactly been quiet in recording the 2 outs for Nicely. Felice bats at 1 and 2. The runner goes, and there's a little pop fly into left center field. That's down for a base hit. Cordero is going to sprint the third, and Anderson Felice enjoying success from the left-on-left matchup. The Barnstormers have runners at first and third. 2 outs in the inning, and Trace Lair stepping in. Lair was 3 for 4 last night. 361 over his last 9 games, up to 218 on the year. Trying to get to the left-handed Austin Nicely and put a run on the board for the Barnstormers, but even if not, you cycle back around to the top of the order for the third inning. To Trace, it is high and inside, a ball, 1-0. Cordero aboard at third, his roommate Anderson Felice across at first. Outfield to the left against Lair. He hits a chopper back to the hill. That will be taken by Nicely. The throw goes to first in time, and the Barnstormers are cut down here in the second inning. No runs, 2 hits. They swung the bats pretty well in the inning, but no errors. 2 runners are stranded. And in the middle of the second inning, still 1-0 in favor of York.
Localflavor.com, local flavor. Localflavor.com, local flavor.
Excuse me, are you saying localflavor.com?
Oh, yeah, it's where I save big bucks on all kinds of things. Home improvement projects, dining out, family fun, electronics, jewelry, clothing. I even bought my wife a fancy spa package for half price.
Half price?
Yep, you know all the deals you find in Clipper Magazine.
I love Clipper Magazine.
Well, they're all on localflavor.com, too. And you can get them right on your phone thanks to localflavor.com's mobile app. Here, take a look.
Well, this app is amazing. Look at all these restaurants, amusement parks, car washes, fitness centers. This is worth sharing about.
Exactly. Localflavor.com online, the Local Flavor mobile app, and Clipper Magazine together. It's like a triple play.
Do the cheer again. I'm in.
Localflavor.com, local flavor. Come on, everybody! Localflavor.com, local flavor. Localflavor.com, local flavor.
Along with Zach Donaldson, Dave Collins with you from People's Bank Park here in York. The Revs leading 1-0 after the Barnstormers lit up the skies for 11 runs in last night's game. That's maybe the biggest obstacle, I think, as far as the Barnstormers competing in the second half, is this team needs to level out the offense and not have these rather dramatic peaks and valleys. When the Barnstormers score 6 runs in a game, which they have 6 or more, they have quite often over the course of the year, the club is 16-3 with 6 or more runs. It's 6-28 when they do not score 6 or more runs, and many of those games are in the 0 through 3 range, not the 4 and 5 range. And the Barnstormers last night reached double figures. I believe it was for the 9th time this year. This team setting a franchise record of 23 runs in the home opener. They kept it going for that weekend, but the next thing you knew, they were scoring 6 runs in 3 games at Southern Maryland. Soft fly ball out to right field, and Clark is going to have to take that on a couple of hops. J.C. Encarnacion is aboard. 3rd hit off of Brooks Hall, and the 2nd inning in a row that is opened with a single for the York Revolution. Jack Henley will step in, the second baseman, batting .261 with a home run, and he has knocked in 15. Now, it's still early tonight, obviously. The Barnstormers have been held off the board for the first couple of innings by Nicely. Infield sets up here, double play depth. Runner takes off, the pitch is outside. The throw by Shaver is late at second. Encarnacion in with his third stolen base of the year. He got going immediately on Brooks Hall. He had a great jump. And even though Shaver was in pretty good position to make the throw, he really had very little chance to get it there on time.
Yeah, not a bad throw by Shaver whatsoever. Encarnacion was just heck of a jump there.
Kenley with the runner in scoring position. Hall to the set, and his pitch, a fastball to the inside corner. As we get the 1-1, the catcher, John Nunez, waiting on deck. He'll bat from the left side of the plate, as will Jeffrey Perez in the number 9 slot. And there's very little the Barnstormers can do about facing a bunch of left-handed batters. They have Eric Cha, and that's it. Swing and a miss, 1-2. And Cha can be effective against the lefties. We have seen that. With that lower angle arm delivery that he has. As long as Cha throws strikes, he's been pretty effective. It's when he doesn't throw strikes that he gets into trouble. Of course, that can be said about a lot of pitchers. 1-2. Kenley goes for it and misses. Well, that is a big first out here for Brooks Hall as he strikes out his second. Nunez will step in, batting .216 with a couple of doubles and 6 runs driven in. One of the troubling stats about the Barnstormers, and it goes back to not getting those key base hits, but this team has won only 3 games all year when it's given up the first run. Southern Maryland is over 500 when it gives up the first run. The Barnstormers are 3-21, I believe it is. And when they score first, they're 19-10. When they don't, they're 3-21. That's just an area where you have to improve. You've got to be able to come from behind. You're not always going to jump out ahead. And the Barnstormers, when they're behind, they'll swing the bats, they'll get the base hits, they'll have runners on, but they just can't get that critical hit to finish off a rally. And it's been that way this whole season.
Yeah, and they have the pieces. It's just the timely hitting that they need to improve on a little bit going into the second half.
Nunez awaiting a pitch. He swings and misses. 3 hits off of Hall in an inning and a third. And he will give up base hits. It's not something that's foreign to him. Fastball up top. Nunez batting at 1-1. Sure, Ross Peoples and Mark Johnson are doing their best to keep an eye on the velocity, the mix. Hall will mix his pitches together very, very well. He's got 4, swing and a foul, 1 ball and 2 strikes, and he'll come at you anywhere from about 85 to 94. That fastball still peaking out at around 94 miles per hour. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nunez awaiting the pitch. Shaver sets the target. Leading off second, Encarnacion. He's not going anywhere. Shaver's able to save ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. As the season has gone along, I've become more and more impressed by Colton Shaver as a defensive catcher. He had such a tough time opening night against Gastonia. 7 stolen bases off of him. There were 2 or 3 wild pitches in that game. 2-2. Ball 3 is inside low. Without ever having seen him before, the thought in the back of your mind was, uh-oh. That could be a weakness, but he has certainly shorn it up since then. And I think Anthony Peroni has grown a lot as a catcher since a year ago. 3-2 here on Nunez. Hall comes back, and that is taken to right. That will drive in a run. Encarnacion will score easily, and now the ball gets under the glove of Ladarius Clark. This will give Nunez at least 1 extra base. He's digging for third, and he is going to make it without a throw. It is 2-0 York, and another man arrives safely at third base with 1 out, and We'll see how that play is scored. My natural inclination there would be single and two-base error. Clearly a base hit and an RBI for Nunez. That's not in question as York takes a 2-0 lead. But we'll see if there is an error to go with it. It looks like they're giving it as a triple all the way.
Interesting, because it looked like Clark just didn't set his feet out there and field that cleanly. He kind of just tried to scoop it up, went right under his glove, and now there's a run on third.
Barnstormers bring the infield in. The pitch to Jeffrey Perez is fouled off. No balls and a strike. Well, they haven't put the error up on the board yet, but it is a single and a two-base error. He'll still get the RBI. Nunez, the runner at third. Here is the delivery. Fastball is in too close, and Perez bats at 1-1. So the official scorekeeper, Mike Cuthright, and I are on the same wavelength, and now they put the error up on the left field scoreboard. Taken low, and ball 2-1 on Perez. Official scorekeeping is another job in a ballpark where you just can't make everybody happy.
Definitely not. It's tough to tell. Bang plays a lot.
So you have to do your best. 3-1. The one thing that managers will usually say is, talk to us. If you're not sure, talk to us. Or ask us if we may have seen something differently, because different angles on a play can present something different as well. Fouled off, it's 3-2. Sometimes you can't see a bad hop from up here, but you can see it from down there. Or you might think something took a bad hop up here, but it really didn't.
Yeah, all about perspective sometimes.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Infield playing all the way up, and the payoff pitch swung on and missed. Hall chalks up strikeout number 3, and we're having one of those games again. And it seems like I'm beating a dead horse here, but the opposition is 4 for 6 when putting the ball in play tonight. And especially in the early innings of games, it's been a repeating theme for the last week or two as the Barnstormers have been chalking up a crazy number of strikeouts. 2 outs. Nunez over at third, and it's grounded weakly foul. Polanco will make the play on it. 0-1 on Troy Stokes Jr., who led off the game for York with a sharp single into center. The Revs leading 2-0 tonight, picking away at Brooks Hall and the Barnstormers. 4 hits to 2. 0-1. Stokes takes a ball just off the inside edge. The count levels at 1 each. Barnstormers and Revs, middle game of the 3-game series. We'll wrap up the 3-game set tomorrow night. Oscar De La Cruz with the start for the Barnstormers. That got back to the inside corner. It's where Hall wanted the last one. The count is 1-2. And it will be right-hander Eduardo Rivera for York tomorrow night. The Barnstormers have had trouble with him. But as you know, De La Cruz can be very, very good. He struck out 10 against Southern Maryland back on Saturday in just 5 innings. 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Stokes winces about it. Hall strikes out his 4th. In the inning, it's 1 run on 2 hits with 1 error. And the runner stranded at third. We're at the end of 2 here at Peoples Bank Park. The score, York 2 and the Barnstormers 0.
Jerry Lee Lewis was the original bad boy of rock and roll. Now, hear all his hits in Great Balls of Fire at Dutch Apple Dinner Theater in Lancaster for a limited run, June 3rd through June 25th. Jason Cohen played Lewis in nearly 80 cities across North America. Now, he brings the ivory-smashing superstar to life in this theatrical concert.
with some songs of his friends like Elvis, Buddy Holly, and Johnny Cash, as well as some New Orleans jazz and traditional gospel. Great Balls of Fire will have you jumping out of your seat saying, "Good gracious, get me some tickets." Call 898-1900 for tickets or order online at DutchApple.com. That's 898-1900. Great Balls of Fire, June 3rd through June 25th at the Dutch Apple Dinner Theater in Lancaster.
Top of the order scheduled for the Barnstormers here in the third inning. It will be Dunston Jr., Mercedes, and Dugan against Austin Nicely. Nicely just got off to such a bad start this year that if he had been new to the Revs, he might not have gotten to stick around. But when you've had plenty of success in the past, as Nicely has had, you're given a little bit more leeway. He pitched against the Barnstormers starting the game on Memorial Day that the Barnstormers eventually won in the bottom of the 10th, their only extra inning win this season. And he went 7 1/3, didn't walk anybody, and gave up only 2 earned runs. Ladarius Clark got to him for a 2-run homer, but that was an inning extended by an error. Colton Shaver had, guess what, a double in that contest. But he has gotten substantially better since our home opener. First delivery, a strike at the letters, 0-1 on Dunston, who went down on a called third strike back in the opening inning, but it was on the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Nicely will go back to work. Dunston checks on the breaking ball and takes it barely off the outside corner. Ball 1, strike 1. 2 hits for the Barnstormers. They've had 3 base runners, but nobody has been plated. Called strike again. A breaking ball to Sean. It's 1-2. Nicely can be very, very crafty. 1-2. He tries a breaking ball again, but doesn't reach the inside corner with it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Austin Nicely, 27 years of age, deals upstairs and fills the count 3-2. He was drafted in 2013 by the Astros in the 10th round. 3-2 coming. Nicely to Dunston, and Sean for a second time goes down looking at a called third strike on a full count pitch. That is the second strikeout for Nicely in the game. Melvin Mercedes now stepping in. Mercedes hit a little cue shot out to the first baseman Rodriguez back in the opening inning off the end of the bat. Ball with tremendous English on it, but easily handled. Nicely goes to work. Mercedes takes a strike, letter high. It's 0-1. Austin Nicely has gotten into a rhythm tonight. The Barnstormers trailing by 2 to Melvin. Hard hit ground ball, but foul outside third base. Nicely in control at 0 balls and 2 strikes.
And Nicely been able to cash in a couple times on 2 strike counts. Right now, if Hall would have been able to do the same, this game might be a little bit different.
0-2 pitch. Busted bat, little roller to the shortstop. Reyes will dig it up on the run. Throw to first can't be managed by Nelly Rodriguez. Mercedes safe on the play, and we'll see how that is ruled. Reyes forced to charge the slow roller off the bat of Mercedes. Melvin does run well. And Elmer Reyes with the off-balance throw bounced it, and Rodriguez got the in-between hop and swept the ball right out of his glove. Kelly Dugan steps in. Kelly with a walk his first time up. That will be an error on the throw. Charged to the shortstop, Reyes. Giving the Barnstormers an opening here in the third inning. Mercedes held by Rodriguez. And to Dugan. That's a strike to the inside corner. Boy, if Nicely has that spot against Kelly, he could exploit that. Wow.
Up and in. Tough one.
Mercedes inching off the bag over at first. Doubtful he'll run here. And Dugan slaps a base hit into center field. First and second now with one away. Perez firing into the shortstop. Mercedes only a small turn at second base. Dugan just keeps ringing out base hits. I mentioned earlier, he does not hit for a lot of power against left-handed pitching, but he does hit well for average against the lefties. It's maybe a little change in approach for him. And he is hitting .313 against the left-handers, .372 against the right-handers. Here's Clark, who grounded into a force out his first time up. Nicely to the plate. He is outside to Ladarius. It is ball one and no strikes. Ladarius is a guy who could hurt Nicely, and it's why Ross made the switch. Clark to 4, Cordero down to 5, the reverse of last night, because Clark's a better hitter against lefties. Mercedes and Dugan take their leads. And to Ladarius, slow ground ball right side. Charging after it is Kenley. He'll fire to first, and he's got him. 4-3, and a very unhappy Ladarius Clark. Like Kenley had to go a long way to get there. If that ball had had just an ounce more energy on it, it's an RBI single into right field. Kenley going to his left, a long way to his left. Able to just edge Ladarius Clark at the first base bag. So it's still 2-0. The Barnstormers' other runners move up. Mercedes to third, Dugan to second. And Andretti Cordero, who singled through the left side back in the second inning, will have an opportunity to tie things up with another base hit.
Here we go. 2 runners in scoring position for the Barnstormers here.
2-0 ball game. York with a single tally in each of the first 2 innings. Cordero looking at a pitch upstairs. It is ball one and no strikes. Cordero has been very consistent. He's hit safely in 27 out of his last 32 games. .331 average over that time. Long lead up the line from third for Mercedes to Cordero. A foul ball carrying out a play down the right field side. It is 1-1. Colton Shaver, the catcher, waits on deck. Cordero is second on this ball club in tying or go-ahead runs batted in. Still far behind Kelly Dugan in the department. 1-1 pitch, and that is chopped. Nice stop at the mound by Nicely, and the Barnstormers are thwarted again. Defense opened the gates in the inning, but defense closed the gates in a hurry on nice plays by Kenley and Nicely. No runs on a hit with 1 error and 2 left in scoring position. We've closed 2.5 here in York, the Revs leading by the score of 2-0.
Hi everyone, Adam Gochenauer from Gochenauer Appliances, and I'm excited to tell you about a new addition to the Gochenauers family this summer season. We are now selling Titus gas grills. Titus gas grills gives you a high quality, all stainless steel grill at an affordable price, and the best thing is you can assemble it yourself in just 5 minutes. That's right, 5 minutes. Stop by to see this great grill now and mention this ad to receive a free gas grill cover with your Titus grill purchase. Gochenauers in East Petersburg.
Pennsylvanians are creating their own soundtrack. Thanks to PA Lottery Scratch-Offs, excitement's back. Pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, no matter your choice, scratching's always in order. With big top prizes and second chance drawings, thrills await. They're out there calling if it's excitement you seek and you're looking for action, play the PA Lottery. And keep on scratching. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Along with Zach Donaldson, Dave Collins back with you from not Regency Furniture Stadium. We were just there. It's People's Bank Park. What am I talking about? We're in York, no longer in Southern Maryland. Speaking of the Blue Crabs, they are not likely to have the chance to clinch tonight. Their magic number is 2, although I would want to look at those possibilities under a little bit more of a microscope, because they may have the second tiebreaker by now, but they're not going to be able to whittle that previous magic number down to 0 tonight, because Long Island has been rained out at home against High Point. Staten Island leads Southern Maryland 1-0 in the 4th anyway. Charleston up on Gastonia 3-0. They're in the middle of the 4th. And earlier today it was Lexington over Wild Health 8-6. And the newsworthy item there is that somebody finally scored on Tim Peterson. He was the losing pitcher. In for a called strike, 0-1 on Elmer Reyes. He had an RBI double inside the third base bag back in the first inning. Brooks Hall has given up 4 hits and 2 runs. He has also struck out 4 already in the game. Back to Reyes, and he is wide with it. It is 1 ball and 1 strike. 2-0 York, and the way things are looking, the Barnstormers can't afford to fall further in the hole in this game. Reyes asking for a break. He needs a better grip on the bat. They use some kind of spray adhesive here in York. Used to be the good old pine tar.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's spray adhesive. That's must be a new thing, or maybe I just haven't played in a while.
We watched, and I can't remember who I was watching it with, the George Brett pine tar incident. High pop-up behind shortstop. Trace Lair calls for this one. Backpedals a little bit more to make the catch. Reyes is retired, 1 out. And Connor Lean, the right fielder, will step in. He struck out begrudgingly back in the first inning, a check swing, and they rang him up on it. 2-0, 1 out here in the third. First inning that Hall has been able to retire the leadoff batter. Are you familiar with the George Brett pine tar incident?
I can't say that I am.
It is the craziest, the most berserk I think I've ever seen a baseball player go. George Brett, Hall of Famer for the Kansas City Royals, had a home run taken away from him by the umpiring crew after Billy Martin, the legendary Billy Martin, manager of the Yankees, had argued that he used an illegal bat. Chopper past the mound, Lair charging, Lair not holding on. 1 out and a base runner for the York Revolution, as Trace Lair lost the grip while trying to shift it and make the throw. It will bring on Nelly Rodriguez, the first baseman, 0 for 1 on a ground ball. Now, we have seen certainly our fair share of mishaps in the infield already in this game tonight, and we're awaiting a ruling on that play. So anyway, they took the home run away from Brett, and he just basically turned into, I don't know, King Kong, Godzilla. I'm not quite sure exactly. The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah. I have
storming
seen
out of the dugout. About 3 or 4 people it took to restrain him from getting to the umpire who made the call. Ball is outside and low on Nelly Rodriguez. And we still do not have a ruling posted. Now we do. It is an E6 on Trace Lair. He charged it well. He had a chance to get off the throw and get Lean for the second out of the inning, and then simply lost the grip. Throw to first. Lean, who's 5 for 6 stealing, dives back in. Already 2-0 in favor of the York Revolution. Brooks Hall has scattered some base hits, getting the strikeouts along the way. The 1-0 right there, strike taken by Rodriguez. It is 1-1. Last night I joked between innings with my counterpart Darrell Henry that Nelly Rodriguez should just start every at-bat at 3 balls and 2 strikes because he seems to end up there eventually, though he didn't against Hall back in the first inning. 1-1 off the outside corner, and Hall seems a bit distressed that he didn't get that pitch. Rodriguez leads the league in drawing bases on balls. 2-1 to him. It's the runner's count. We'll see if Lean goes. Dugan holds him at first. And Hall will indeed check him with a throw. 2 balls, 1 strike. Lower half of the third inning here in York. And again, off to a fairly slow start in the ball game. Last night, we accelerated during the middle innings. 4 through 6, I think, took the sum total of about a half an hour last night. To Rodriguez, foul to the screen, and, well, he's almost to a full count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, this could be an obligatory ball 3 in the world of Nelly Rodriguez here in 2022. Houston beat the Mets earlier today, 5-3 in front of 35,000 at Minute Maid Park. And in the other final, Toronto over the White Sox, 9-5. 3-2, or 2-2. Yeah, it's ball 3. It's ball 3. Of course it is. It's standard.
No surprise there.
We'll see if Lean takes off. My guess is yes. Nelly Rodriguez batting 3-2. Carlos Franco on deck. Already 2-0 York here in the third inning. Runner does go. The pitch is ball 4 high, and Nelly Rodriguez picks up yet another base on balls. Only the second given up by Hall in 10 1/3 innings. And now Brooks will have to encounter Franco. Carlos Franco has done some harm to the Barnstormers with 3 homers, 10 runs batted in the season series, but he's at least hit below his league average against the Barnstormers, only at 275 as opposed to slightly under 320, maybe 318 now overall. Yeah, that's what it shows up on the big board out there in right center field, if you can read the black numbers on the red and the darker red checkerboard. First pitch strike, it is 0-1. And amazingly, I can.
Yeah, it's not the best font combination out there.
No balls, 1 strike to Franco. Lean is at second. Rodriguez on at first. The Barnstormers infielders looking for the double play grounder. Hall just below the knees. It is 1 ball and 1 strike. I'm trying to read Brooks's body language in this third inning to see if he is maybe undergoing some angst with the plate umpire, Scott Hart. And I'm not sure. 1-1, fastball is up. Now 2 balls and a strike. J.C. Encarnacion, the left fielder, waits on deck. There have been a couple pitches where I've thought that Brooks certainly wanted it ruled the other way. He's dealing with 2 runners on, 1 out, and one of the league's most dangerous hitters at the plate. Power might be cut down tonight. The wind is blowing now pretty much straight in from right field, which in most ballparks is typically out of the east. It's the way ballparks are supposed to be set up. 2-1. Strike at the knees. So Hall gets the benefit there. It's 2-2, and now Franco seems a little perturbed.
Yeah, we've had a handful of guys tonight, I want to say, questioning the home plate umpire's call.
Barnstormers right now fighting to stay in this game. Down 2-0 here in the third. 2 runners are on an error and a walk. 2-2 on Franco. Hall misses low and inside, and he's gone to full once again. 3-2.
Got to be careful here because Franco can get a hold of one. He had 2 homers in one game against the Barnstormers back in late May.
Now you've got to be careful to him, but you don't want to walk him either. Here is the payoff pitch. He put him away, a swing and a miss. And for Brooks Hall, that is strikeout number 5. Leaves the inning to J.C. Encarnacion, who can be a thorn to the Barnstormers. He singled and scored back in the second inning. Still 2-0 here in the lower half of the third. The other concern right now is that Hall is piling up a lot of pitches tonight. He threw 70 and had to come out after 4 in his last start. Fly ball toward the left center field, angling over Robinson. He's there, and a one pitch out helps Brooks get through the third inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and York strands 2. We've completed 3 here in the Arch Street neighborhood of York, just off of downtown. It's 2-0 in favor of the Revs.
It's no longer about answering the most emails or pulling the most all-nighters. It's about prioritizing what's most important.
Hey, Lexus, give me directions to Eagles Peak Hiking Trail. Calculating route.
That's why the Lexus NX has an interface engineered to understand you and an available 14-inch touchscreen that's simpler and more intuitive. The Lexus NX. See Bobby Rahal Lexus in Mechanicsburg or Lancaster County.
Availability and accuracy of navigation system depends on many factors. Data charges may apply.
There is a weekend in July where the baseball world revolves around a village in upstate New York. Baseball Hall of Fame induction weekend in Cooperstown is an unforgettable experience full of family-friendly activities and priceless moments. Make your plans today for July 22nd through 25th for the induction of Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, Buck O'Neill, and David Ortiz as the class of 2022. Visit baseballhall.org today for the
2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error, 4 left for York. The Barnstormers, no runs, 3 hits, 2 errors, and Lancaster has stranded 5. Colton Shaver, Trayvon Robinson, and Anderson Felice, the scheduled Lancaster hitters here in the top half of the 4th inning. Shaver to lead it off. I mentioned earlier the 7 stolen base game for the Gastonia Honey Hunters on opening night. They just took advantage of the Barnstormers' batteries that evening, and I said I was concerned about Shaver, but I talked to Mark Johnson the next day, and he fully laid the blame for that on his pitching staff. He said, we weren't mixing up anything. We were so predictable that they knew exactly when to take off and when it was safe to do so, and he felt Colton really didn't have much of a chance that night. Shaver has thrown out since that night about 25%. 0 for 1 in this game, and he swings and misses against a changeup here from Nicely. The Barnstormers have had 3 singles tonight. They've had a man reach on an error. They have drawn a walk. They haven't been able to piece anything together. Shaver not even ready to go, but the pitch is high, and it's 1-1. Well, he was fortunate there. He didn't even have the bat in his hands.
No.
Fouled to the screen, 1-2, which makes me believe that he had asked for a timeout from Scott Hart and didn't get it. And caught a break with the ball. 1-2 to Shaver, nicely with a breaking ball. That is cut on and missed. 3rd strikeout of the game for the left-hander, and he is pitching a gem. Well, the Barnstormers have to find a way to counter it. Hall did a nice job in the bottom of the 3rd to keep his ball club in the game. And Lancaster has to find an offense. Hardest hit ball of the night, very well, maybe Robinson's first at bat, but he's 0 for 1. Smoked a line drive right to the 3rd baseman, Carlos Franco. Here he will take ball 1 down low. 1-0 from Nicely, the left-hander. Cordero led off the 2nd with a single in the other 3 innings. The frame is started with a strikeout. Foul tip by Robinson. It is 1-1 here. 4th inning of baseball, 2-0 York. Robinson played straight away by the York defense. Nicely rears back, brings it home, ground ball left side, and again, right there, the 3rd baseman, Franco. Robinson retired easily, 2 up and 2 down in the Lancaster 4th inning. It will bring on Anderson Felice, and we still don't have the full Anderson Felice back. batting left on left. He singled to left center field back in the second inning. You still have the swing, but you're just not used to seeing the ball come in from the angle it is here. Little chop foul. It doesn't have much on it, forcing the bat boy to come well out of the dugout. Trace Lair, the shortstop, on deck. 2 outs, nobody on here in the top of the 4th inning. Nicely has been in a pretty good rhythm since the outset of the game. Felice turns on that and misses. It is 0-2. And not much going for the Barnstormers offensively the night after they scored 11 runs and hit 5 homers. And that's just part of this season in a nutshell also. Grounded foul. Felice sticks in there at no balls and 2 strikes. I mean, every team's going to experience that depending on the quality of pitching that you're facing. It just seems that the hills and the valleys for this team seem to be a bit extreme. 0-2, and the breaking ball cut on and missed. And that's where you have to think Felice is at a deficit, seeing a left-hander with a really good curveball like that, and you're just not used to a pitch like that coming from that angle. So nothing across, and the Barnstormers half of the 4th inning through 3.5. York leading by the score of 2-0.
Localflavor.com, local flavor. Localflavor.com, local flavor.
Excuse me, are you saying localflavor.com?
Oh, yeah, it's where I save big bucks on all kinds of things. Home improvement projects, dining out, family fun, electronics, jewelry, clothing. I even bought my wife a fancy spa package for half price.
Half price?
Yep, you know all the deals you find in Clipper Magazine.
I love Clipper Magazine.
Well, they're all on localflavor.com too. And you can get them right on your phone thanks to localflavor.com's mobile app. Here, take a look.
Well, this app is amazing. Look at all these restaurants, amusement parks, car washes, fitness centers. This is worth sharing about.
Exactly. Localflavor.com online, the Local Flavor mobile app, and Clipper Magazine together. It's like a triple play.
Do the cheer again. I'm in.
Localflavor.com, local flavor. Come on, everybody! Localflavor.com, local flavor. Localflavor.com, local flavor.
Heading into the bottom half of the 4th inning as the youngsters here in York build fake cheeseburgers out along the first base line. My question is, are those burgers plant-based or meat-based? Probably plant-based.
It's a valid question you have to ask nowadays.
But even more so, more than likely, neither. Synthetic burgers.
You know what? That's probably what I would put my money on.
Synthetic. Made out of fiber and not the plant-based kind.
Not edible.
Jack Kenley leads off the 4th inning, a strikeout victim against Hall back in the 2nd. Brooks is fan 5. Trailing 2-0 here in the home half of the 4th inning. Hall into his windup. Kenley takes this to dead center. Racing back is Dunston. It's over his head and out to the base of the wall. Kenley will motor around second and then pull up, satisfied with the leadoff double. A long double to straightaway center field. It looked like it came down just before it hit the wall. I don't think it grazed the wall first, but still a 395-foot poke to dead center. There was very little that Sean Dunston Jr. could do on that. He wasn't playing all that far back against Kenley, who just put up his 8th extra base hit of the year. But now additional issues for Brooks Hall. He's facing John Nunez, the catcher. Nunez pulled a single out to right, driving in the 2nd run of this game for York. Revolution offense has now produced 5 hits off of Hall in 3+ innings. They've got yet another runner in scoring position. Swung on and missed by Nunez. It is 0-1. Fortunately for the Barnstormers tonight, the Revs are just 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position, or this could be a good deal worse. They've had a lot of opportunities. No balls, 1 strike to Nunez. Hall comes back and delivers to the knees. It's 0-2. Lights are on. We've had overcast skies. The rains are supposed to hold off until, say, the time the Barnstormers will be on their way back home from York. 0-2. Chipped foul and out of play over to the third base side. That would be maybe a gentle play for a fan over there. We don't see the turnout tonight that we did last night. They had over 3,000 here on the Tuesday. But last night's weather was ideal, and the forecast for tonight, if you were making your decision what to do last night, forecast for tonight said, I'm not going to even think about going to the game. It looked like a sure rain out, fly ball center field, and an off-balance swing. Dunston loses his hat, holds on to the ball, and a pretty good strong throw in to Trace Lair keeps Kenley from having any ideas. Hall picks up the first out without Kenley advancing, and Jeffrey Perez, the center fielder, will step in. And that is an unfortunate part about baseball and weather, is that you're, of course, subjected to the actual weather, but in terms of the business, you're subjected to the forecast as well. And it was 70 to 80% from about noon today till 11 o'clock tonight. They were talking about severe storms here. First offering is low. Ball 1 on Perez, 1-0. And it's not to say that weather didn't happen. It did. Well to the south of here. Maryland and Virginia, West Virginia, have been getting absolutely peppered by thunderstorms today. 1-0, runner at second, 1 out. Hall to the plate, and this also is hit in the air to center. I don't know that Dunston picked that up right away, but he's there to make the catch, and it's 2 outs again without Kenley being able to advance. Nunez and Perez with very similar fly ball outs. 2 are gone, and Troy Stokes Jr. will step in. He's the DH, 1 for 2 on the night. Hall has done a pretty solid job keeping the Barnstormers in this game. He's faced a fair amount of adversity. They've had a runner at second base with nobody out in 3 different innings and with 1 out in the other one. So there have been perpetual threats. Ball is inside on Stokes, 1-0. Elmer Reyes, the shortstop, waits on deck. 2-0 York, bottom of the 4th. Hall trying to get through this, battling Stokes with 2 away. Here is the offering. Stokes pops this up, and it's not going to get the Mercedes on the fly. He'll take it on a bounce, throwing out Stokes, and Hall gets through the 4th inning. Zach will take you through the 5th. Here in the bottom of the 4th, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. It's still 2-0 York as we complete the 4th inning.
Jerry Lee Lewis was the original bad boy of rock and roll. Now, hear all his hits in Great Balls of Fire at Dutch Apple Dinner Theater in Lancaster for a limited run, June 3rd through June 25th. Jason Cohen played Lewis in nearly 80 cities across North America. Now, he brings the ivory-smashing superstar to life in this theatrical concert. With some songs of his friends like Elvis, Buddy Holly, and Johnny Cash, as well as some New Orleans jazz and traditional gospel, Great Balls of Fire will have you jumping out of your seat saying, "Good gracious, get me some tickets." Call 898-1900 for tickets or order online at DutchApple.com. That's 898-1900. Great Balls of Fire, June 3rd through June 25th at the Dutch Apple Dinner Theater in Lancaster.
Top of the 5th inning here at Peoples Bank Park in York, Pennsylvania. I'm Zach Donaldson, taking away the play-by-play duties from Dave Collins just for the inning. York Revolution out to a 2-0 lead. The Barnstormers have had some glimpses of hope on offense, but haven't been able to erase that 0 on the scoreboard. Trace Lair, the shortstop, He's going to get first hacks here in the top of the fifth to try and change that, followed up by Sean Dunston Jr. and Melvin Mercedes. First pitch is in there for a strike. The 0-1 is down and out, bounces for a ball. Still on the mound for the Revolution is Austin Nicely. He's had a fairly nice outing, pun intended, tonight against the Barnstormers. 4 strikeouts and is only at 62 pitches here in the top of the fifth. The 1-1 swing and a miss by Lair. Strike 2 on Trace. Lair's really started to come around as of late for the Barnstormers, but right there, another big swing and a miss. Ball was outside, but that's a strikeout, the 5th one for Nicely on the evening.
He's really developed command of his breaking pitches here as this night has gone along. He didn't fully have it early, but now he's able to put that where he wants it, and against Lair, he wanted it off the outside corner. He got Trace to chase 2 of them.
Back to back, and it's 1 out here for the Barnstormers as Sean Dunston Jr. steps into the batter's box. Lefty on lefty action. Dunston, 2 strikeouts on the night. Rips one into center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Dunston, now for the Barnstormers, has reached base safely in all 12 games that he's played and make that 11 hits that he's registered in those games. And the Barnstormers have a runner on board here for Melvin Mercedes.
Dunston's first 2 trips, he had gotten the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes. He was being patient. Leadoff hitters want to do that. Here he went on the offense. He swung aggressively and was able to take that pitch into center field.
Paid off for him. We'll see if Mercedes can capitalize. He's 0 for 2 tonight. First pitch, swings, grounds it up the middle, fielded. There's 1 out, and there's 2. The double play converted by the Revolution, and that's going to be the top of the 5th inning. The Barnstormers once again showed some promise, but Nicely and the Revolution defense slammed the door shut. Still 2-0 entering the bottom of the 5th with York on top.
Celebrate the history of our national pastime at the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown. See priceless treasures that will bring your baseball memories to life. Connect with events that have shaped and changed the game and our country. Our stories to tell, your memories to share. Plan your family visit today at baseballhall.org. See you in Cooperstown, where the journey becomes legend.
They say to truly understand someone, you must walk a mile in their shoes. Well, at Lexus, we designed the ES with you in mind every step of the way. From class-leading legroom in the back to positioning the touchscreen 4 inches closer to you in the front. Everything in the Lexus ES, a direct reflection of you. See Bobby Ray Hall Lexus in Mechanicsburg or Lancaster County.
2022 ES versus 2021-2022 competitors. Information from manufacturers' websites as of 5/3/2021.
For the youth of our area, the Barnstormers are offering a wide variety of camps throughout the summer to teach everyone some tips on baseball and softball. Camps are offered to kids as young as 4 and as old as 12. Some even involve the parents. They run from June 11th all the way through September 17. For more information, go to LancasterBarnstormers.com and click on the Youth Baseball tab. All presented by Orthopedic Associates of Lancaster and Play It Again Sports.
Hall remains on the mound for the Barnstormers. Still with a 2-0 deficit in the bottom of the 5th. Last inning started off promising on offense. Dunston Jr. broke through and secured himself a base hit, but Mercedes followed that up, grounded into a double play to shortstop. And now Hall's going to try and have to mitigate the damage here in the bottom half of the 5th. facing off against Elmer Reyes, who has gotten to Hall once tonight.
We talked about Dunston swinging aggressively. So did Mercedes, which goes against his grain. And he hit Nicely's pitch.
Definitely the team leader in walks. Could have used one there instead of grounding into the double play, but nonetheless, count is 2-1 on Elmer Reyes. Reyes swings, drives that foul on the left field side.
I've got you crammed into the corner of the booth. You couldn't see that
Now
from where you are.
There's a nice wall affecting my vantage point, but it's all good. I saw it shift over that way. Now the 2-2 is swung on and nicks the end of the bat. Reyes stays alive. Hall 5 strikeouts on the night. 71 pitches as Reyes pops that one up. Looks like it's going to stay in play for Dugan, and he reaches over the York Revolution dugout rail and makes the catch in foul territory for the first out of the inning.
You know he wasn't going to get helped very much by air traffic control over there either.
Nope, that makes it all that more impressive. In fact, he was probably had people screaming at him to drop it. Didn't affect him unfazed is Kelly Dugan. That's a big first out for Brooks Hall and the Barnstormers. Now former Barnstormer Connor Lean stepping back up to the plate. First pitch for a ball. Struck out in the first and reached base on an error in the third. Had a home run yesterday, and he sends that one close. But it's just going to be a little bit foul over there on the left side once again. So 2 powerful foul balls sent on the left side this inning. Another swing and a miss to Lean. Tipped that one, but nonetheless, still a strike. 1-2 is the count to Lean. Hall winds, delivers. That's high. Upstairs for a ball. Knots the count at 2.
I'm interested to see if Brooks goes past this 5th inning tonight. He's gone from 39 pitches to 70 tonight. He's in the middle 70s.
Skips one outside for another ball. Count is now full. To Connor Lean. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Full count, swing and a miss. Strikeout number 6 for
like
Brooks Hall.
Yeah, it looked like a slider. Lean, from the way it appeared, was looking fastball, trying to take one out the left field, got the slider, it ended up off the end of his bat.
Some pristine pitching there by Brooks Hall to get out of that one, but he's got one more out to escape this inning. And like you were saying, we'll see if this is his last one. Pitch count as at 80 currently. As he faces Nelly Rodriguez, drew a walk in his last at-bat. The leader in the Atlantic League and walks by a pretty sizable margin.
Over the guy on deck.
Takes a pitch outside for a ball.
Rodriguez is just in one of those grooves where if it is not in the zone, he's not swinging after it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, it helps that Carlos Franco, one of the best bats in the league, is right behind him. Takes that one on the outside corner. That's a strike, called strike. Counts 1-2. Brooks Hall fires. Rodriguez pops that up, a high fly ball into shallow center. Dunston calls off. Mercedes makes the catch and ends the inning. So Brooks Hall with another strikeout in that one. He's up to 82 pitches and keeps the York Revolution lead at bay. Still 2-0 though. The Barnstormers with some work to do here in the final 4 frames.
This season offers a whole line of new items from Otto's Hospitality. Dig into the world-famous Nathan's Hot Dogs. Take a trip to Otto's Cantina for a walking taco or your favorite adult beverage. Enjoy a helmet of Otto's meatballs or a sausage with peppers from the Broken Bat Deck. For the sweet tooth, there are jumbo chocolate chip cookies, Skyline cotton candy, and ice cream novelties. Or simply snack on Emma's popcorn in a variety of exciting flavors. What a great way to savor your time at the ballpark, courtesy of Otto's.
There is a weekend in July where the baseball world revolves around a village in upstate New York. Baseball Hall of Fame induction weekend in Cooperstown is an unforgettable experience full of family-friendly activities and priceless moments. Make your plans today for July 22nd through 25th for the induction of Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, Buck O'Neill, and David Ortiz as the class of 2022. Visit baseballhall.org today for the
Still 2-0 York. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Austin nicely weaving a gem for the York Revolution. He has kept the Barnstormers without an extra base hit. And we've seen this ebb and flow quite a bit lately. You just have to go back to the series in Lexington about a month ago against the Genomes. The Barnstormers had 21 extra base hits the first 2 games of that series and none on Sunday. Here is Kelly Dugan, who has walked and singled. He wraps a foul on the ground down the first base side. It is 0-1 to Kelly. With all the success Dugan has had, he hasn't had a hitting streak of longer than 7 this year. With the single tonight, he is currently at 6. Pitch misses to him, and it's 1-1 on the Lancaster first baseman. Clark and Cordero to follow. And there is action in the Barnstormers bullpen. I thought there might be. Swinging a foul down the left field line. 1-2 here on Dugan, who is 23 for 53 against York this year with 10 homers. He'll take ball 2 inside, nicely working to him at an even count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. He leads the team in tying go-ahead runs batted in overall. Tying go-ahead runs batted in the late innings. Here he takes the 2-2 pitch and bounces it one hop to the second baseman, Kenley, a routine out. There's one away, and the Barnstormers really not showing much in the way of signs of life here offensively against Nicely here tonight. And a lot of that has to do with Nicely. He's got very good stuff out there. But this is probably my biggest concern about this team going into the second half. I'm not all that concerned about the pitching. I think the Barnstormers have a lot of arms, and obviously they can hit and they can score a lot of runs. But they haven't found a ticket to produce when the opposing pitcher has his top stuff. By the way, Dugan is at first. I just looked and saw him out there. They ruled catcher's interference.
Yeah, I was going to say the umpire did signal something.
So the Barnstormers do have the runner on. It's no at bat for Kelly, and there's nobody out in the inning. 1 strike to Clark, who had looked to lay a bunt down there. First base is sort of, it's in my line of sight, but not really. Outside, ball 1, strike 1. So Dugan is still 1 for 1 tonight. And he has kind of a little bit of a longer swing, and longer swings will often produce catcher's interference. Clark awaiting the 1-1, and he slaps it into right field. He's got a base hit, and the Barnstormers have 2 men on. Clark is typically the Barnstormers' best hitter against lefty pitching. Cordero will come to the plate. Andretti 1 for 2, and the closest the Barnstormers have come to scoring tonight up until now, anyway, was back in the third inning. Runners at first and second with one out. Clark hit a ground ball on the right side with a lot less starch than that one had. And Kenley got to it and turned it into the second out of the inning. Second error posted on the board, and that's charged to Nunez on the catcher's interference. And then Cordero hit a crisp one hopper right back to the hill. And a leaping stop made by Nicely. Fouled away, 0-1. Dugan is at second. Clark is at first. If you were the Barnstormers, you'd rather right now have that the other way around, and then the double steal could be in order. I don't know if you'd want to necessarily do it in this combination. Cordero swings and misses at a change. That ball moved quite a bit at the end. No balls and 2 strikes to Andretti. Colton Shaver, the catcher, waits on deck. This is the Barnstormers' chance. They have the opportunity here in the 6th inning, first and second, nobody out. Somebody has to come up with the big hit. It's a Cordero 0-2 pitch, ground ball shortstop, and this could be 2. Reyes to Kenley for 1, and an easy double play is turned. 6-4-3, leaving the Barnstormers with Dugan at third and 2 outs for Colton Shaver. Shaver has flied out and struck out. So the double play helping nicely once again, second inning in a row, turns 6-4-3. Lancaster has certainly had chances here tonight. 4 at-bats with a runner in scoring position, 4 ground balls, and now 5 outs.
Yeah, it's not gonna win you baseball games. There's 2 opportunities there for Cordero, who's no slouch in their RBI department. Didn't come through.
Low to Shaver, good block by Nunez. Ball 1, no strikes. Still 2-0 York, top of the 6th inning. Shaver on an extra base hit. Terry has 25 overall this year. Nicely will serve up a breaking ball. That is cut on and missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. Shaver got out of there to open the way for Dugan in case that ball had gotten through, but it didn't. 1 ball, 1 strike to the Lancaster catcher, Trayvon Robinson on deck. Robinson hasn't been able to get a ball past Carlos Franco tonight. Lancaster has the action in the bullpen. Rob Rosado catching somebody. We have not been informed as to who that might be. 1-1. Ball 2, and again, Nunez shows some pretty good athleticism back there. 2 balls and a strike. Lancaster looking at least now to pick up 1 run here in this 6th inning. It would take the 2-out RBI single to do it. Dugan leads from third. Nicely ready to go. Here's the 2-1. Shaver looks at ball 3 off the plate. 3 balls, 1 strike to Colton. It's low, and the Barnstormers are back to having the tying runs on. It will be up to Robinson to get the job done. Trayvon has not been quiet tonight at all, but he is lined to third and hit a sharp ground ball to third. Dugan at third. Shaver, the runner on at first base. 2-0 York. The Barnstormers have already left 5 runners on base in this game. They have not been lacking for men on base. That is to be sure. To Robinson, a chopper, guess what, to third base. Franco has to wait for Kenley to arrive at second, handling the throw. 5-4 on the force out. When Nicely needs a ground ball, Nicely gets a ground ball. No runs in the inning on 1 hit with 1 error. 2 men stranded. Will go to the bottom of the 6th inning. And York is up by the 2-0 score.
There is a weekend in July where the baseball world revolves around a village in upstate New York. Baseball Hall of Fame induction weekend in Cooperstown is an unforgettable experience full of family-friendly activities and priceless moments. Make your plans today for July 22nd through 25th for the induction of Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, Buck O'Neill, and David Ortiz as the class of 2022. Visit baseballhall.org today for the
Hey kids, join the coolest club in town, the Storm Force. The Storm Force is presented by the Lancaster Barnstormers and Commonwealth Charter Academy. For only $25, kids under 12 get an entire summer of Barnstormers fun with 12 game tickets, a t-shirt and bag, the chance to go first when kids run the bases, exclusive activities, and coupons from Dutch Wonderland, Chocolate World, and more. Don't miss out on all the fun. Go to LancasterBarnstormers.com and sign up.
The Barnstormers do, in fact, go to the bullpen as we head to the bottom of the sixth inning. Eric Manoah comes in. Eric was perhaps the victim of being left out there a bit too long on Saturday night against Southern Maryland. His first inning was brilliant. He set the side down in order. A strikeout, a fly out to right, a ground ball, 3 up, 3 down. At the time, the Barnstormers were leading 5-3, and then he hit Raul Shah with his first pitch in the 7th inning, and you can't do that with the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs this year. A mistake like that in the late innings, they will pounce on it just about every single time. They scored the tying runs that inning, keyed by a Michael Wolanski triple, and then got 2 more off Manoah the next inning, and Eric and the Barnstormers experiencing quite the difficult break in that bottom of the 8th. Manoah got the double play ground ball that he needed with runners at first and third, 1 out, trying to keep the ball game tied, and the ball hit the hump of the pitcher's mound perfectly, caroming sideways and forcing Melvin Mercedes to reverse his field. Melvin got a glove on it, and I still think usually he probably makes that play because he's so good with the glove, but you can't expect him to. And instead of an inning-ending double play, it's an RBI single, a sacrifice fly followed, and Lancaster lost that one 7-5. So Manoah takes over here against Franco, Encarnacion, and Kenley as York steps to the plate in the lower half of the 6th inning. First time that they will have seen Eric Manoah, who was pitching at Harrisburg earlier this year, as well as Rochester in the national system. First pitch to Franco off the inside corner, moving the big fella back a step. Ball 1 and no strikes. Manoah in his 5th game, 1-1, a 3.12 ERA at this stage. His motion, and he tries to find the inside corner again, and cannot. He trails Franco 2-0. Hall went 5. He gave up 5 hits, 2 runs. Walked 1, struck out 6, retired the final 6 batters that he faced. And Brooks may be turning into that pitcher. If you don't get to him in the first couple of innings, you're not going to knock him out later on, and that is what makes a good starter. Bouncing ball, foul, 2-1. I remember back when I was a kid, to me, the epitome of that was Catfish Hunter with Oakland and later the Yankees. He seemed to give up everything he allowed in the first maybe 3 innings, first time through the batting order, and after that he would shut you down. 2 balls, 1 strike to Franco. He grounded out and struck out against Hall. The motion, Manoah to the plate, looked like off speed there. And a foul ball straight back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hits are even, 5 each. Errors are even, 2 each. Barnstormers have the edge in walks, 2-1. But Lancaster has left 7 runners on base. York at this stage 5, and the Barnstormers have also grounded into 2 double plays. Franco bats 2-2. Manoah just misses with that one, and it looked like Eric wanted it. Here we are again, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Recurring theme pretty much throughout the last couple of years for Barnstormers baseball. It's what's causing these games to drag out this year, nowhere near as bad as last year. The payoff, nubbed foul, still 3-2. Manoah from Homestead, Florida. He had a very nice season in the Minnesota organization last year. Things did not go as well for him in the Nats system this year. The Nats system that is greatly improved from a year ago. Coming out of the pandemic, nobody knew exactly how to play it with the restructuring of the minor leagues, and the Nats team fell far behind. Fly ball left center field. This one is trouble. Robinson goes back, leaps at the wall, and that ball stays in play. Franco will race into second. He is there with a leadoff double. That awfully close to getting out, and I think that Robinson may have kept it in if we were to really be able to zoom in on that play. So Franco settles into second with his 15th double. Here is J.C. Encarnacion, 1 out of 2, with a run scored here tonight. Barnstormers down by 2, and again, York threatens. It's the 4th inning in which they've had a runner at second base with nobody out. They have scored that run just once. Breaking ball, knocked foul off to the right, now to play. 1 strike to Encarnacion. Franco with the double. No balls and a strike. Manoah comes back, and that's punched into right field, a base hit. Franco is not going to make the turn and head home. A base hit for Encarnacion. Runners at first and third for the York Revolution. And Jack Kenley will come to the plate.
Runners on the corners now for the Revolution. All started by that big fly by Carlos Franco. I mean, it was about time that he made some sort of impact on this game, and it was tough to watch the replay that we have. I mean, it's not the greatest one, but it was tough to tell. Trayvon might have kept that in with his glove.
He made the leaping try at the wall, so either it came off his glove or it hit at the top of the fence, one or the other. First and third with none down, and there's a ground ball second base. Mercedes will try to turn 2 on it, but it took a little bit too long, and Kenley is safe at first. It's 3-0. He'll get the RBI. 4-6 on the out. Mercedes with the backhanded feed to Lair. That ball slowed down on its way to Melvin, and the Barnstormers not quite able to turn 2. They have to deal with Kenley at first, 1 out in the inning. John Nunez coming to the plate. And this is one of those games where a 3-run deficit looks enormous, as the Barnstormers have not gotten untracked at all at the plate. 5 batters now for Lancaster with the runner in scoring position, all 5 with an easy ground ball. And in one case, a double play. Ball inside and low, 1-0 on Nunez. He singled in York's second run here tonight. 3-0 Revs. Bottom half of the 6th inning. The infielders again looking to turn 2. Manoah to the plate, and that's a line drive base hit into right. Third hit off Manoah here in the 6th inning. Stopping at second is Kenley. And Jeffrey Perez will come to the plate. Perez is 0 for 2. Just when you think, as the line went from Jaws, just when you think it's safe to go back into the water, just when you think the Barnstormers bullpen might be coming together, you get an outing like this, and it's a puzzle because so many times Manoah comes out and looks dominating, and now he's given up 3 hits to 4 batters in this inning. Perez stands in. He is struck out and flied out. York threatening to blow it open here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Revs now with 8 hits for the ball game. Manoah to the high set position. He'll go to work on Perez and angle it inside and low. It is ball 1. Jeffrey Perez definitely getting into the color scheme of the York Revolution with those bright yellow shoes matching the trim on his uniform.
Can't miss those.
Can't miss those with the stadium lights off. Off speed is slightly high and 2-0 on Perez. Troy Stokes Jr., the designated hitter, waits on deck. More action in the Barnstormers bullpen. Lancaster with 24 available players coming into tonight, which for Ross Peoples is living in the lap of luxury. He needs to get one more bat. That is becoming evident. Ball 3 is high, 3-0. And Manoah risks loading the bases here in the 6th inning. Simply, right now, he's operating with 11. We have not heard an update on Devon Torrance and a return for him. But I still think there's a need for a big gun in the middle of the lineup, especially in a ball game like this. Perez draws the walk, and they're now loaded for Stokes, but not before we have a mound visit. Mark Johnson on his way out. There was never a need to visit Hall, but Manoah needs a break here in the 6th inning. 1 run home. York has the bases loaded with 1 out, and Stokes coming in. Johnson will try to settle a right-hander down. Meanwhile, Tyler Sullentrop is loosening in the Lancaster bullpen. Bullpens can be at their best when you can get it organized so that pitchers are throwing 1 inning at a time. They know they're throwing 1 inning. They're not out there throwing 3 one night and 1 another night, but you can use them 1 inning per night. And I still think Ross has the opportunity, if everybody gets healthy, stays healthy in the second half, and the starters do what they've been doing, which for the most part has been getting us through 5 or 6 innings. You can go 6-1-1-1, which is what Sparky Anderson created back in the 70s with the Big Red Machine, and it has become part of baseball ever since. It's the way you want to operate with your bullpen. And Ross simply hasn't been able to get into that scheme for a variety of reasons now for 2 seasons running. Inside a ball, 1-0 on Stokes, and Manoah is in all kinds of trouble here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Last year it was because the starting pitching was so inexperienced and largely a train wreck after everybody got signed very early on. Inside and fouled off the handle of the bat. It's 1-1 on Stokes. And this year, the injuries.
Yeah, tough part of the game, and Barnstormers have really felt the wrath recently, especially.
1 ball, 1 strike, bases loaded, 1 out to Stokes. This is chipped out to shallow right field, and it's going to fall for a base hit. It will score not only 1, here comes a second, but the throw to the plate is in time to nail Nunez. So it's 4-0 on the RBI single to right field by Stokes as he brings home Kenley. Nunez is then out at the plate, and that was perhaps an unwise gamble on the part of the York Revolution, just picking up their 4th hit of the inning, but getting maybe a little bit greedy trying to score the second runner there. He was out by quite a bit as they challenged that arm from right field. So here is Reyes batting with the runners at first and second, Perez at second, Stokes at first. 2 outs in the inning, but 2 runs on the board for the Revs. Manoah into the motion, breaking ball, grounded foul to the third base dugout. It is 0-1. 9 hits for York in the ball game tonight. They have all of the extra base hits. There have been 3 doubles. York has those all with nobody out. Nothing in 1. And Manoah will spin, bluffing Perez back to second base. And Eric has only picked up 1 out on 6 batters. The other out coming on the bases here. Next offering, Reyes pulls a weak grounder to short. Lair will scoop it up quickly underhand to Mercedes. They get the out at second, but not with a tremendous amount of room to spare. Stokes forced 6-4. The Barnstormers are through the sixth inning, but it's 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors, and a couple of men left on base by the York Revolution. We're through 6 tonight here at Peoples Bank Park, and York has started to pull away. The Revs leading by the score of 4-0.
Are you sick and tired of washers that don't use enough water, or take 2 hours to clean and don't last more than a few years? Well, come into Gockenauer's in East Petersburg now and let us show you the Speed Queen commercial grade laundry. Built the old-fashioned way with warranties up to 7 full years. Gockenauer's will deliver and install your new Speed Queen, and we know you'll be fully satisfied with your purchase. Gockenauer's in East Petersburg, your hometown dealer for 73 years.
At Clipper Magazine Stadium, we have hot dogs and popcorn, peanuts, soda, and nachos. But what if, say, you are only 3 months old and mom wants to have a night out and watch the Barnstormers? Well, thanks to May Grant Obstetrics and Gynecology, the littlest of Stormer fans now have a place to go for dinner during the game. Tots can take mom to the Little Sluggers dugout behind Section 13 at the stadium for a comfortable private feeding experience. A brightly painted room with comfortable furniture and TVs tuned to the game, it is the perfect spot for baby and mom during a night at the ballpark.
Knockoffs, copycats, imitators. They all share one thing in common. They always pale in comparison next to the true original. Just like the stylish and versatile Lexus RX. The crossover that paved the way for others. And it's still the best for one simple reason. Nothing else is as good as the original. See Bobby Rahal Lexus in Mechanicsburg or Lancaster County.
4 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors, and now 7 left on for the York Revolution. The Barnstormers with no runs, 5 hits, 2 errors, and also 7 left on base. Anderson Felice is 1 for 2 against Austin Nicely. Felice has the honors of getting the 7th inning underway here tonight. Nicely is freewheeling at the moment. The pitch to Felice is a ball inside, 1-0. 2 walks given up by Nicely. He has allowed 5 singles. Getting the ground balls whenever he's in trouble. A called strike, and it's 1-1. Lancaster had its opportunity back in the 6th inning. 2 on, including the catcher's interference. Ball 2 is away. It is 2-1. And the pitch count for Nicely is not terribly high. Still in the 80s. Breaking ball across the front of the outside corner. And it's now 2-2. That is the pitch. Last year, that is probably not a strike. The way they had the TrackMan system set up. Here's a 2-2. That's not a strike anywhere. 3-2. But it was recording 10.5 inches behind the front of home plate. And there's no way that's in the zone 10.5 inches back, but it was in the zone at the front of the plate, at least as Scott Hart saw it. And I can't disagree. 3-2 pitch. Stroked on the ground, waiting back for it is Kenley. He's got plenty of time, 1 out here in the 7th inning.
Another ground ball forced by Nicely there to get that first out.
That's 10, and it would have been 11, except for the catcher's interference. It brings on Trace Lair. He has hit a comebacker, and he has struck out tonight. Nicely into his motion. And his breaking ball dances just low. It is ball 1-0 on the Lancaster shortstop. Next pitch is looped foul into the seats along the third base side. We get to 1 ball and 1 strike here. Barnstormers and the Revs top of the 7th. York trying to even this series at a game each and pull back within 3 in the War of the Roses. Towering pop-up into the clouds. Searching the skies is the shortstop Reyes. He has it all away. 2 outs. And back to the top of the order. And Sean Dunston Jr., who has reached base for the 12th consecutive game at the outset of his Atlantic League career. The Barnstormers really just don't have anything working out here tonight at all.
Yeah, they've managed 5 hits, but really nothing has come of those hits. Obviously, as there's that 0 in the runs column on the scoreboard and that 0 for 5 in scoring position.
To Dunston, pulled foul on the ground, nothing in 1.
Just really tells the tale of the Barnstormers and most of their losses this season. Just coming up short on the offensive end.
And yet averaging well better than 5 runs a game. There's a liner down the left stripe and a base hit. Racing over is Encarnacion. Dunston will sprint for second and make a wide turn there as Encarnacion finally feeds the ball back to the infield. First extra base hit for the Barnstormers in the game. Sean Johnston Jr. stands at second with 2 outs here in the 7th inning, and the opportunity anyway to knock 1 off the York lead. The Revs with some action in their bullpen as well. Nicely's pitch total has reached 95 for the night. Mercedes has hit the ball on the ground all 3 times tonight, once reaching on a throwing error by Reyes. Dunston leads off second. Nicely able to move his pitches around just enough that you hit on top of the ball. I had a long conversation with Genome's hitting coach, Lindsey Gardner, yesterday, who has her own theories about hitting, and they're intriguing. Strike at the knees, 0-1. But she feels that's what happens when you let the location of the pitch dictate what you do as opposed to aiming for a spot on the field. Nothing in 1 to Mercedes, and strike 2. Runs across the outside corner.
Yeah,
Nick Howard, a right-hander, warming up in the bullpen.
It's definitely an interesting, unorthodox philosophy, but I mean, you look at the game tonight, maybe that would help out the Stormers a little bit.
Oh, 0-2. Stays wide of the plate. Ball 1 and 2 strikes. And of course, there are ways to counter every strategy that you try to employ.
Absolutely.
It's why this game is never mastered by anybody. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Mercedes. Dunston leads off second. He's there with 2 outs. Here's the set, the pitch. Mercedes cracks a foul past third. Hopping off the concrete, I guess that is. Maybe it's wood, above the bullpen bench down along the left field line. Sounded more like wood, but generally those areas are constructed out of some sort of precast concrete. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Still on Mercedes. Outfielders are pretty shallow against Melvin. He doesn't go for it. Ball 2. Fades off the outside corner. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He thought about it for a minute, which is very unlike him.
Barnstormers have had 10 different base runners tonight. And to Mercedes, it's ball 3. Nicely is likely to be left out there to face Dugan. But if this inning is still going beyond that, Nick Howard comes into the game, I would have to believe. But first, you have to get it to that point. Dunston off second. Mercedes awaiting the full count pitch. Runner goes. This is popped up to a shallow right field. Tough spot, and it will fall in. Dunston will come to score, and Mercedes makes it 4-1 with a blue pit out into right. Lean, Kenley, and Rodriguez surrounding it, and it actually looked like Kenley might have overrun it. But the Barnstormers have a man across. It is 4-1 here in the 7th inning, and it will bring on Dugan, who has reached all 3 trips here tonight in some unusual and varied manners. Mark Mason is coming out. Mercedes with a base hit and an RBI, so Lancaster is on the board. And amazingly, he is going to pull nicely and go to Howard to face the lefty slugger Kelly Dugan. I guess it's all about the pitch count. Austin Nicely has reached 102. So going against the book, Mason goes to the big right-hander. We've got a change on the mound for the York Revolution, and while we do, we'll send you back to our always mythical studios for these messages.
Localflavor.com, local flavor. Localflavor.com, local flavor.
Excuse me, are you saying localflavor.com?
Oh, yeah, it's where I save big bucks on all kinds of things. Home improvement projects, dining out, family fun, electronics, jewelry, clothing. I even bought my wife a fancy spa package for half price.
Half price?
Yep, you know all the deals you find in Clipper Magazine.
I love Clipper Magazine.
Well, they're all on localflavor.com.
Oh, God, they'll never let us back in
and
here.
you can
I'm
get them
James
right on
Gordon,
your
and
phone
I'm here to
thanks
tell people that WWW is getting even more personal. The new
Apple's amazing.
WWW
Look at
person.
all these restaurants, amusement parks, car washes, fitness centers. This is worth sharing about.
Exactly. Localflavor.com online, the Local Flavor mobile app, and Clipper Magazine together. It's like a triple play.
Do the cheer again. I'm in.
Localflavor.com, local flavor. Come on, everybody! Localflavor.com, local flavor. Localflavor.com, local flavor.
Former Cincinnati Reds first-round picks abound in the Atlantic League. Nick Travieso last night, J.J. Hoover, and now the Barnstormers will face Nick Howard, who was taken in the first round back in 2014 out of UVA. Howard, born in Stamford, Connecticut, went to high school in the nation's capital. Facing Kelly Dugan with Mercedes at first, 2 outs and a run home for the Barnstormers in the 7th. Howard in his 8th game as a member of the Revs, 7 2/3 innings, 6 hits. He has walked 5, struck out 12. To Dugan. First pitch swinging is Kelly. Swings and misses. It is 0-1. Dugan has walked, singled, and reached on catcher's interference. Officially 1 out of 1 in the ball game tonight. Howard got to AAA in the Cincinnati system. In fact, was there earlier this year. Dugan will take a second strike off speed at the knees. And Mark Mason knew what he was doing after all, by all appearances.
Guess so, but
nothing in 2 to Dugan. Lancaster trying to add to a run-scoring inning. The 0-2 pitch, Dugan started the bat. Did he go? He did not, says the third base umpire, Buzz Albert. And Kelly fortunate to be alive at a ball and 2 strikes. Dunston a wrong way double, and Mercedes a blue pit, setting the stage for a Barnstormers rally here in the 7th. Lancaster with 7 hits in these 7 innings. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dugan swings and misses. So Mason definitely knew something. He liked that matchup a lot better than we did coming in. It's a run on 2 hits with no errors, 1 man left on base, as Mark Mason found the antidote to the Kelly Dugan toxin. We'll find out as we go deeper into this season. But now at the 7th inning stretch tonight, it's York 4 and Lancaster 1.
Jerry Lee Lewis was the original bad boy of rock and roll. Now, hear all his hits in Great Balls of Fire at Dutch Apple Dinner Theater in Lancaster for a limited run, June 3rd through June 25th. Jason Cohen played Lewis in nearly 80 cities across North America. Now, he brings the ivory-smashing superstar to life in this theatrical concert. With some songs of his friends like Elvis, Buddy Holly, and Johnny Cash, as well as some New Orleans jazz and traditional gospel, Great Balls of Fire will have you jumping out of your seat saying, "Good gracious, get me some tickets." Call 898-1900 for tickets or order online at DutchApple.com. That's 898-1900. Great Balls of Fire, June 3rd through June 25th at the Dutch Apple Dinner Theater in Lancaster.
You could go on and on and on about the importance of pitchers being in comfortable roles. Tyler Sullentrop Friday night asked to close in the absence of the first line of defense, Scott Schumann, the second line of defense, Josh Graham, the third line of defense, Chase Johnson. And Sullentrop was within an out of nailing the game down on Friday night at Southern Maryland. And the next two pitches, wild pitch, game-tying double. Sullentrop ended up not involved in that decision. The Barnstormers would lose in extra innings. He's 2-2 with a 2.63 ERA, so he has performed well. This is his 24th game, most on the club. 24 innings, 19 hits, 7 earned runs. He's walked 15, and Tyler has struck out 31. But it's why you want to get your relief pitcher slotted, and that's just a luxury that Ross hasn't had all year. But this bullpen, I think, has excellent potential to get the bullpen slotted. But what is needed is the offense to be less erratic on a night-to-night basis. Sullentrop to Connor Lean, and the first offering is low for a ball. Lean 0 for 3, he did reach on an error back in the third inning. 4-1 York leads here in the lower half of the seventh inning. Clark, Cordero, and Shaver are up in the eighth. 1-0. That is over but low. 2 balls and nothing. But to me, the one thing lacking on this Barnstormers team, and I've said it for a while, has nothing to do with the pitching staff. What's needed on this club is a hired gun. You've got good hitters in the middle of the order, and I understand that. Strike 2 and 1. But I'm talking about the guy like years and years ago that Lancaster had in Matt LeCroy. And you could come up with Sean Halton was maybe that kind of player. At the knees, called strike. It's 2 and 2. But somebody who could hit anybody. It didn't matter the quality of the opposing pitching. It didn't matter if you were facing one of the best pitchers in the league. You had a couple of guys in the lineup who could damage them all. Foul away, it's 2 and 2. And get those key runs in the late innings and get those key runs with men in scoring position. And here in 2022, it's pretty much been Dugan. Last year, it was Dugan and maybe Gindel. And at times, last year, Clark. And we haven't seen those really critical late inning hits out of Ladarius this season like we did last year. Ball 3, 3 and 2. Now, you had the grand slam the other day against Wild Health. That's better than a week ago now. It seems like it was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
3 and 2. Sullentrop working to Lean, and he misses high. It's ball 4. Leadoff man is on here in the seventh inning. But it's amazing that when your club is not winning on a regular basis, you can find these little things, because statistically, you look at the statistics and not the won-loss records, the Barnstormers should be a winning team. The stats dictate that this team should be a winning ball club. The difference in OPS, the Barnstormers are plus 35. Not too long ago, it was plus 46. That is a winning team. The statistics would say this team should be several games above 500, not 22 and 31. But the OPS difference does not translate into much of a run differential. The Barnstormers are virtually even there. Right now, they're plus 1 on the season with a score involved tonight. So that the Barnstormers are below where they should be in terms of the run differential. And then the run differential would dictate about a 500 team, and the Barnstormers are 9 games under. So it doesn't all add up. Tapped foul at the plate, and a second strike on Rodriguez. 0-2 with Lean at first and nobody out. And the cause for that is simple. The Barnstormers pile it on to individual pitchers, but they don't get to everybody. They're vulnerable to really strong outings. We've seen it from the likes of Thompson and Nicely, and they're especially vulnerable to starters with good breaking balls. He went too far on that. I'm going to make the call myself. Rodriguez is gone on strikes. Sullentrop follows the walk with a strikeout, and we have seen our first lightning as the Storms may be approaching us at long last. They were supposed to originally be here by noon today.
Yeah. About 9 hours later, but they've arrived.
And my wife has told me my house down in Virginia's gotten pretty well assaulted today, but fortunately no hail. I think they were without power for a while down there, though. 1 out, 1 on. Here is Carlos Franco. He is grounded out, struck out, and doubled.
Yeah, the Barnstormers could use some of that lightning to ignite their offense here in the late innings.
Fastball for a strike. It is 0-1. Well, with that, I think back to the killer night at Staten Island when we didn't get those final 3 outs in. And it is scary to keep a game going with lightning out there. I get it. And maybe better safe than sorry, but it just trashed the Barnstormers pitching staff for days to come.
Yeah.
Strike 2 over at the knees. It's 0-2. And, of course, at that time, who did the Barnstormers face? Southern Maryland. Just like this past weekend, the Barnstormers couldn't even put up a fair fight this past weekend. Who did they play? Southern Maryland.
Cream of the crop.
It's gone that way for the Blue Crabs this season, it seems. 0-2 here. Sullentrop in on the hands. It's fouled into the net. Will continue at 0-2. But as I say, statistically, the Barnstormers should be more 31-22 than 22-31.
I would agree with you.
This club has the elements of being a very good team. 0-2, swung on and missed. Franco is gone on strikes for the second time tonight. Sullentrop has fanned 2 in a row. Here we are, the Barnstormers have struck out 8 again. They're piling up the strikeouts. Here is Encarnacion, 2 for 3 with a run across.
You can strike out as many batters as you want, but you got to score runs to win baseball games. And they've only scored 6 or more runs in 19 games this season, and
Which is
without.
good.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty good clip. If you score 6 or more runs in better than a third of your games. Wild swing by Encarnacion. It's 0-1.
But you just need that hitting to complement the pitching. And obviously baseball, things happen here or there. You could get the worst team beating the best team, like we saw yesterday with Staten Island beating Southern Maryland. It happens. But Barnstormers really need some consistency.
Runner takes off, and that is hit well the other way. Clark racing back. Clark going all the way back. Reaches out. Can't pull that one in. It's out to the base of the wall. Scoring is Lean. Racing for third is Encarnacion. The throw will not have him. It's an RBI triple and a 5-1 York lead. Encarnacion extending the arms and driving the ball beyond the reach of Ladarius Clark. He almost got there. 2 outs, man at third. Jack Kenley steps in.
Was a thunderous triple there. Hit to that right center field wall. It looked like it was going to go out for a moment. Maybe the wind had something to do with that.
Yeah, it probably knocked it down. 2 outs with the man at third to Kenley. Swing and a miss. No balls and a strike. Eric Manoa worked the 6th inning. He gave up 4 hits and 2 runs. He walked 1 and did not strike out anybody. Sullentrop out of the full wind. Gets his fastball past Kenley. It's 0-2. Kenley's Arkansas Razorbacks in the final 4 of the College World Series. But coming back out of the loser's bracket, they'll need to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, Oklahoma just secured a spot today.
Was that against Arkansas or?
I was against Texas A&M.
That was against
I believe,
Texas
yeah.
A&M. Arkansas playing Ole Miss. The Southeast Conference rather dominating college baseball this year.
Mm-hmm. You said it.
I don't know how Notre Dame got around that Tennessee team, but the Fighting Irish did. Which, considering the fact that I, at one time, was the voice of the Fighting Irish for one day. One day. 1-2. Line toward the middle. Sullentrop can't get the glove up, and that's another run. Kenley knocks in Encarnacion, and it's now 6-1. This game a little bit discouraging as far as the Barnstormers are concerned, because all the causes for optimism that you have with this ball club have sort of been stripped away here tonight. Not Brooks Hall. Brooks was fine. No complaints there. 2 runs, 5 innings. That works. But Manoah's given up a couple of runs. Sullentrop's given up a couple of runs. This is the way you want the bullpen slotted. And they just haven't been able to get the outs. York taking apart the Barnstormers bullpen tonight. Upstairs for a ball on Nunez. It is 1-0. And then the other side of the coin is the Barnstormers just not hitting with runners in scoring position. Two outs with the runner at first. That is inside, forcing Nunez to lean backwards. It's 2-0. So Manoah and Sullentrop, the two guys who lost the leads at Southern Maryland, given a chance tonight to rebound, but they haven't been able to. Lancaster has more action in the bullpen. Here's a 2-0, fouled to the net. 2 balls and a strike. I'm still optimistic about the second half, but I do think that the Barnstormers need one more bat, and I don't even know what you do with it, but one more bat and a lefty out of the bullpen, another one. 2 balls, 1 strike. That is registered as strike 2 on the outside corner, and the count levels. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sullentrop with his fastball gets that across. So he strikes out 3, but the Revs score 2. That's not an even exchange. 2 runs on a couple of hits, no errors, and they leave 1. We're through 7 tonight here at Peoples Bank Park with York leading 6-1.
Hi everyone, Adam Gochenauer from Gochenauer Appliances, and I'm excited to tell you about a new addition to the Gochenauers family this summer season. We are now selling Titus Gas Grills. Titus Gas Grills gives you a high quality, all stainless steel grill at an affordable price, and the best thing is you can assemble it yourself in just 5 minutes. That's right, 5 minutes. Stop by to see this great grill now and mention this ad to receive a free gas grill cover with your Titus Grill purchase. Gochenauers in East Petersburg.
Pennsylvanians are creating their own soundtrack. Thanks to PA Lottery Scratch-Offs, excitement's back. Pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, no matter your choice, scratching's always in order. With big top prizes and second chance drawings, thrills await. They're out there calling. If it's excitement you seek and you're looking for action, play the PA Lottery. And keep on scratching. Must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Along with Zach Donaldson, Dave Collins with you from Peoples Bank Park in York. It's pretty much been all Revs here tonight, 6-1 in favor of York. The Barnstormers tried to climb back into the ball game with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. They got a run on the board and then gave up 2. Again, not a fair exchange. Barnstormers are getting cheated on these deals. Ladarius Clark will come to the plate. He finally got a ball past the second baseman, Kenley, in the 6th inning. That was his approach to Austin Nicely the entire game, was to slap the ball on the right side. First, in the 1st inning, he hit one right at Kenley. The second time up, Kenley had to go a long way to his left. And then the 3rd time was the charm. Now against Howard, Clark takes high and away. Ball 1, no strikes. Ladarius has been quite consistent here over the past month and a half or so. He's kept his average above 300. Fastball poured onto the outside corner, making it 1-1. And Ladarius Clark has so much else to offer that him batting over 300 is a bonus. 1 ball, 1 strike. That fastball runs to the outside corner, making it 1-2. Donald Goodson Jr. warms up in the bullpen for the Barnstormers. He'll go the bottom of the 8th inning. I don't know if it was the sound system or actually I was hearing some thunder during the last inning break. Clark stays alive, fouling that off. Still in there at 1-2. And I think it was the sound system. It was something that they were playing, trying to drum up interest in some way, shape, or form. But I thought I heard a low rumble. I was worried it was thunder. Strike 3, I think. No. Pitch was outside and a check swing. 2-2. I had thought Scott Hart was going to ring that one up. It seemed right where the other 2 strikes were.
That's what I thought. Crowd certainly thought so, too.
Howard comes back. That's strike 3, swinging and missing. So Nick Howard has come on and struck out the 2 that he has faced, getting Dugan and Clark. Andretti Cordero will come to the plate. Andretti tonight is 1 out of 3. Well, the Barnstormers are back in the negative column again with run differential. Cordero looks at a fastball away. It's ball 1, no strikes. Colton Shaver, the on-deck hitter for the Barnstormers, club that hit 5 homers and scored 11 runs last night. Piled up 14 hits, called strike. It's 1-1. Tonight you get different pitching, a different feel, and the Barnstormers offense has largely stalled. Cordero will foul it off. It's 1-2. And there just is different levels of competition. There are those elite pitchers that not that many hitters can get to. 1-2. Fastball up top, ball 2 and 2 strikes. And so on down. Breaking ball, that's in see you later territory. Strike 3 called. Cordero is not happy, and Howard has now struck out all 3. But watch out for York in the second half. We've watched Mark Mason year in and year out. We've watched the pattern. He has an offense that he knows will get better as the weather warms up. It's happened again here in 2022. And if he doesn't like his pitching staff, he will swap it out. He did it today. 4 guys leaving, 3 coming in. Howard is a piece he has picked up recently. And their bullpen will get better. Their starting pitching will get better as the second half comes through. And they're always tough in the second half. Plus, they play 42 of the last 60 at home. Pulled foul by Shaver. And that one comes up for Ross. He drops it once and then plays games. I'm not sure if he's trying to entertain the crowd or himself.
Maybe a little bit of both. I mean, at this point in the game.
Top of the 8th inning. And a Shaver, swing and a miss. And that does it. He strikes out the side as Nick Howard here in the 8th inning. He is fan 4, nothing doing for the Barnstormers. 7.5 in the books. York leading 6-1.
It's no longer about answering the most emails or pulling the most all-nighters. It's about prioritizing what's most important.
Hey, Lexus, give me directions to Eagles Peak Hiking Trail. Calculating route.
That's why the Lexus NX has an interface engineered to understand you and an available 14-inch touchscreen that's simpler and more intuitive. The Lexus NX. See Bobby Rahal Lexus in Mechanicsburg or Lancaster County.
Availability and accuracy of navigation system depends on many factors. Data charges may apply.
There is a weekend in July where the baseball world revolves around a village in upstate New York. Baseball Hall of Fame induction weekend in Cooperstown is an unforgettable experience full of family-friendly activities and priceless moments. Make your plans today for July 22nd through 25th for the induction of Bud Fowler, Gil Hodges, Jim Cott, Minnie Minoso, Tony Oliva, Buck O'Neill, and David Ortiz as the class of 2022. Visit baseballhall.org today for the
Bottom of the 8th inning, Don Goodson Jr. comes in. Tyler Sullentrop was reached for a pair of hits and a pair of runs last inning. It started with the leadoff walk. Goodson will work the 8th. He faces Perez, Stokes, and Reyes. The Barnstormers with Robinson, Felice, and Lair scheduled in the top half of the 9th inning. Take a quick peek at the radar. We haven't seen any lightning in a few minutes now. It's way off in the distance anyway. So that is how close is too close. There's the amateur rule where if you see lightning, you bring play to a halt. Generally, the professional rule is you keep playing depending on the situation. If you're in the early innings, you want to preserve the rest of the game, you put the tarp on if you know the storms are going to blow through. Now, I'm looking at the radar. The storms are fairly imminent here, it appears, and that would indicate to me that once they roll in here, we're done for the night. And 6-1 in the 8th inning, you just play. The night at Staten Island, I still believe they should have tried to get that bottom half of the 5th inning in. We were not going to play once those storms rolled in that night. There was no chance to get action going again. I had seen the radar. Ball 1 is low on Jeffrey Perez and his yellow shoes. 1 ball and no strikes. It's like he's wearing rubber ducks on his feet. Not really.
I was going to say highlighters.
But it's about that color. Smash to third. With it is Cordero. He'll flip it across the diamond. Perez retired. The out goes 5-3. 1 down. And Troy Stokes Jr., the DH, will step in against Goodson. Donald is appearing for the 19th time this year. No record and a 7.40 ERA. He's tried to work that down from, well, not a very good start. If I remember correctly, he gave up home runs to the first 2 batters that he saw this year. So there's nowhere to go but up from there.
Yeah,
or
down
start. If you're talking about the ERA.
Not how you start, it's how you finish.
It is low and ball 1 on Stokes. Ball 2 is low. 2-0. Fastball in at the knees. It is 2-1. One of the things I've thought about this Barnstormers club this year is how nice it would have been to have had 2 of Boyd, Robinson, and De Aza at the same time. Liner to right, gloved by Clark coming in. 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Elmer Reyes is scheduled. Reyes is 1 for 4 with a run batted in. The De Aza thing is troubling because, well, let's face it, he is being Alejandro De Aza. And he is second in the league in batting coming into tonight, pressing Kelly Dugan, 347. And he leads the league with a 460 on-base percentage. How much the Barnstormers could have used that. And that is, you just bring it up, and Ross bristles as much as he ever does, which isn't much. 0-2, but that move hurt. I think Ross, in some way, took it personally. And I think with the Barnstormers, we all did. Line to left center field, down for a base hit. Reyes aboard with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. I really think we all took it a little bit personally. Yeah. It was a slap in the face. When you know you've made a quality offer. Jim Fuller, the closer, is warming up for York. We are informed. But when somebody could say, no, I don't like the offer, you need to up the offer, and you haven't put the best foot forward, and the policy the Atlantic League has in place is to guard against teams just gypping somebody that was with you the year before and saying, well, you're ours, so take the bad offer or leave it. The league policy is in place to protect against that, but what happened there is the Barnstormers made as good an offer as you're allowed to make in the Atlantic League, and we were told it had been accepted. I'll sign when I get there. And then everybody who's not signed is declared a free agent. And this is exactly the way it went down. And all of a sudden, he changed gears, and the Ducks are coming in, and he's signing with them, coming into Lancaster as he was supposed to, but signing with the other ball club. And that's where you do kind of wonder what happened. You take things a little personally, and that one just stung. The Barnstormers had kept a roster spot for him.
Yeah, tough pill to swallow for the Barnstormers, for sure.
And how much of a difference would he have made? I think a substantial difference. 0-2. Breaking ball is strike three called on the outside corner. Lean goes down looking. He's struck out for the third time tonight. No runs on a hit, no errors, and one left in the bottom half of the eighth. We're going to inning number 9 here in York. The Revs in charge by the score of 6-1.
Localflavor.com, local flavor. Localflavor.com, local flavor.
Excuse me, are you saying localflavor.com?
Oh, yeah, it's where I save big bucks on all kinds of things. Home improvement projects, dining out, family fun, electronics, jewelry, clothing. I even bought my wife a fancy spa package for half price.
Half price?
Yep, you know all the deals you find in Clipper Magazine.
I love Clipper Magazine.
Well, they're all on localflavor.com too. And you can get them right on your phone thanks to localflavor.com's mobile app. Here, take a look.
Well, this app is amazing. Look at all these restaurants, amusement parks, car washes, fitness centers. This is worth sharing about.
Exactly. Localflavor.com online, the Local Flavor mobile app, and Clipper Magazine together. It's like a triple play.
Do the cheer again. I'm in.
Localflavor.com, local flavor. Come on, everybody! Localflavor.com, local flavor. Localflavor.com, local flavor.
Into the 9th inning, and the York closer has come in. Not that he has an opportunity for a save tonight, but Jim Fuller, I guess it is felt, needs a little bit of tuning up. The Barnstormers with the bottom 3, Robinson, Felice, and Lair, scheduled to face him here. Jake Hoover has been out for the series. I have not been given an explanation as to that. Lair has started at shortstop both nights. Here's Trayvon Robinson. Carlos Franco's ears perk up when he hears the introduction. Robinson's hit 3 balls at Franco tonight. First pitch strike from Fuller. It's 0-1. Howard faced 4 batters. He struck out all of them and did so with relative ease. It took a total of 17 pitches, I believe. No balls and 1 strike to Trayvon. Next delivery slips past the outside corner and low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Robinson trying to break out of a 3-game drought. But I'd have to say, arguably, he's hit the ball as well as anybody in the Lancaster batting order has tonight. He just hasn't been able to clear Franco. First one was a blistering line drive and arguably the hardest hit ball the Barnstormers have had tonight. Ball 2 is low, and Robinson will pick it back up, rub it off as if it were an apple he's about to present to the teacher, and then it gets thrown back to the mound.
Good old Trayvon.
Here, Miss Jones, I brought this for you, and I shined it up nicely. 2-1. Fuller into his wind. Robinson looks at ball 3 below the knees. And one thing the Barnstormers have going for them here, you often hear this, and in my experience, it's true. If somebody's locked into coming in pressure situations and he's not in one, sometimes that mindset really slips and he doesn't have his best of outings. 3-1. Robinson goes for it and hits this straight up the chimney. Coming back a bit now is the catcher Nunez. He'll secure it, and that's 1 out here in the 9th inning. Bringing on Anderson Felice. Anderson 1 out of 3 tonight. Six to 1. Top half of the 9th inning. Lancaster has been in this game and not been in this game at the same time. It didn't really start getting away until the lower half of the 6th inning. And ultimately not until the bottom of the 7th. Fouled to the net, strike 1 on Felice, who continues to bat left on left tonight, so you know he's not 100%. Felice, better average hitter left-handed and has more power right-handed, typically. At least it's been that way this year. Swing and a miss. I don't think he touched that. 0-2. Lair waiting on deck. 1 run eventually scored off of Nicely on a blue pit by Melvin Mercedes in the 7th inning. At the Barnstormers, 11 last night, 1 tonight. It's been the story of the year. Felice batting at 0-2. That ball is pulled toward the gap in right center field, but it's going to hang and lean over to make the catch. 2 gone, and it's up to Trace Lair to continue the night here tonight. Barnstormers will play what certainly appears to be the rubber game of the series against the Long Island Ducks tomorrow, or against the York Revolution tomorrow, and then head to Long Island nice and early Thursday morning, a 9 o'clock departure for Central Islip. 2 outs. Here is Lair into the dirt for a ball, and Nunez having to sprint after it, and Trace just poking around in the batter's box.
Yeah, I think you put it perfectly, though. Never really felt like the Barnstormers were out of the game, but it never really felt like they were in it either. Just couldn't get the hits when they needed to.
And they really haven't. They have 7 hits, but they haven't hit terribly many balls hard tonight.
That too.
Dugan's single in the 3rd was solid. Fouled by Lair. It's a ball and a strike. Dunston, a couple of decent hits for him.
He had a nice double.
We've had a couple of bloop hits, rollers through the infield. Clark's single in the 6th was hit fairly well. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lair sees a fastball for strike 2. Six to 1, and the Barnstormers are down to a final strike. Fuller ready to go, and that is hit toward the wall out in left, toward the corner. Encarnacion getting back, and he's going to have to play that off the wall. Lair will race for second, and he will be in with a 2-out, keeping the game alive double.
There's a hard hit ball.
Trace Lair playing some wall ball here in York. He did what the Revs fans always cheer for, hit the wall, and he did. He did just that. Lair's 4th double. Here's Dunston. Sean 2 for 4 tonight. He doubled the other way against Nicely in the 7th inning. Dunston has had, I think, a better night than the 2 called third strikes would indicate, along with the 2 hits, because he worked those at-bats really well, just got tricked at the end. This will finish off the game, though. A pop up to second. Easy play for Jack Kenley. York back within 3 in the War of the Roses. No runs on a hit, no errors, 1 left for the Barnstormers in the top half of the ninth tonight. We will, pardon me, if someone wants to now bring the EKG, they can do so. I forgot about the cannon when they win. We'll be back to wrap things up here tonight in just a moment. Our final score, the York Revolution 6 and the Lancaster Barnstormers 1.
Jerry Lee Lewis was the original bad boy of rock and roll. Now, hear all his hits in Great Balls of Fire at Dutch Apple Dinner Theater in Lancaster for a limited run, June 3rd through June 25th. Jason Cohen played Lewis in nearly 80 cities across North America. Now, he brings the ivory-smashing superstar to life in this theatrical concert. With some songs of his friends like Elvis, Buddy Holly, and Johnny Cash, as well as some New Orleans jazz and traditional gospel, Great Balls of Fire will have you jumping out of your seat saying, "Good gracious, get me some tickets." Call 898-1900 for tickets or order online at dutchapple.com. That's 898-1900. Great Balls of Fire, June 3rd through June 25th at the Dutch Apple Dinner Theater in Lancaster.
An entirely different feel to tonight's game from a night ago. Last night, the Barnstormers found hitting for power extremely easy. They clubbed 5 home runs, piled up 11 runs altogether in a basic 11-4 victory over the York Revolution tonight, with maybe slightly different air currents and a tough left-hander on the mound. The Barnstormers never got untracked offensively, and they fall 6-1 to the York Revolution in the middle game of the series. York with 6 runs on 12 hits, 2 errors, 9 left. The Barnstormers 1 run on 8 hits with 2 errors and 9 men left on base. Austin nicely with the victory. He is 2-5 on the campaign. He gave up the 1 run on the 7 hits in 6 2/3 innings. The loss goes to Brooks Hall, who is 0-1. Unfortunately, Brooks giving up a couple of runs in 5 innings tonight. He pitched well enough to win, but ends up being handed the loss. No save in the ball game. We also did not see a home run in any form here tonight. The time of our game, 2 hours, 39 minutes, and we do not have an attendance posted for tonight. Suffice it to say, short of last night's 30-17, which was a very nice crowd for a Tuesday, but we do not have that attendance figure at this moment in time. Barnstormers fell behind right away tonight. In the bottom of the first, Brooks Hall was greeted by a Troy Stokes Jr. single on an 0-2 pitch, and then Elmer Reyes drilled a double inside the third base bag down into the corner. Stokes coming around to score. It was 1-0. And then in the second inning, J.C. Encarnacion singled into right center field. He promptly stole second. It took the second batter to get him home, as John Nunez pulled a base hit into right field. Encarnacion around to score. Nunez ended up at third as the ball got through Ladarius Clark for an error. Hall took things into his own hands and struck out the next 2. We stayed at 2-0 for quite some time, certainly through the remainder of Hall's stint in the ball game, but the Revolution edged out ahead even more against Eric Manoa in the 6th inning. And again, it was a double-single combination that got it started. The double was hit nearly out of the yard in left center field by Carlos Franco, who is tied for the league lead in home runs. Didn't quite get this one enough, and he ended up at second with the double. J.C. Encarnacion singled into right, moving Franco to third. A force play grounder got 1 run home, and at that point it was 3-0. John Nunez singled for the second time tonight. Jeffrey Perez walked. That loaded the bases. Stokes then dropped the single into short right, scoring Kenley. Nunez thrown out at the plate, and finally Elmer Reyes grounded into a force out to end that inning. It was 4-0 going into the seventh. The Barnstormers pieced together their only run of the night in the seventh inning. Sean Dunston Jr. went down the left stripe for a double, and that was followed by a 2-out single from Melvin Mercedes, a little dunker into right to cut the lead to 4-1. York's bullpen took it off the sheet largely from there, except for the Laird double in the ninth inning, and a couple of 2-out runs scored against Tyler Sullentrop in the bottom of the seventh, keyed on the third hit of the night by J.C. Encarnacion, in this case a triple over the head of Ladarius Clark out in right field. So this series is even at a game apiece, neither game exactly hotly contested down the stretch, and tomorrow night the rubber game will be decided here in York, and hence the series will be decided. Oscar De La Cruz going for the Barnstormers. He gave up 3 runs in his final 2 innings of work, the fourth and the fifth. Back on Saturday at Southern Maryland, he came out with a 5-3 lead and a chance to win the game. He also struck out 10 Southern Maryland batters in 5 innings, including 7 of the first 10 men that he faced in that game. And he will match up tomorrow night against Eduardo Rivera, who's 4-1, and Rivera has given the Barnstormers hitters a lot of trouble here in 2022. Could very well be an interesting game tomorrow night. We invite you to come across the river and support your Barnstormers in person, but if that is not a possibility, then definitely tune in. We'll be here with you at 6:25 tomorrow evening with the starting lineups for the game, and then the play-by-play action will follow. So until then, for my partner tonight, Zach Donaldson, and Zach, thanks for stopping by, making the trip. Hope you enjoyed yourself, and let's do this again.
Absolutely.
And bring Toby with you the next time.
I'll have to drag him out here.
Yeah, you might have to. I'm Dave Collins. Have a great evening, everyone, and it's still a little more than a week away, but we'll see you at the ballpark.